the World Series, Super Bowl 39, and the Daytona 500. This is Fox Sports. Today on the Fox NFL Divisional Special, it's the Rams versus the Falcons.
Dad?
Terry Bradshaw.
Sweetie, I know it's the playoffs, but let's go out. There is a great new restaurant downtown. Everyone says the food is the
best receiving duo in the league stars Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. They're Bulger's favorite targets, and Mark's arm has had quite a workout
lately. We've both been so busy, we haven't had any time to spend together. And I don't want to cook. So if we go out, there won't be anything to clean up. No washing the
Dirty Birds were the best rushing team during the regular season. But can they continue their success in the playoffs? Mike Vick is truly the master of the house.
What do you think?
Only 4 home games.
Honey, are you listening? Great. It's too late, isn't it? I've lost you. Well, I guess there's only one thing to do.
So turn up the volume. It's the Divisional Playoffs right here, right now on Fox.
Tonight in Atlanta, Michael Vick will make his first playoff start at home. Vick is called the X Factor. And make no mistake about it, he must be not only exciting but exceptional if the Falcons are to get to the Super Bowl. Vick and the Falcons face Mark Bulger and the Rams. Bulger says his team right now is playing its best football. The same for him, by the way. St. Louis has won 3 straight games, all against playoff squads. Meanwhile, the Falcons counter with the league's top rushing attack. Falcons fans are calling Warwick Dunn, Michael Vick, and T.J. Duckett flash, dash, and smash. Speaking of which, we have a smash hit in store for you tonight as the Rams battle the Falcons. It's game 2 of the divisional playoffs, and it begins right here, right now on Fox. And hello again, everyone, and welcome to Studio A here in Los Angeles. I'm James Brown, and welcome to this Fox NFL special. Well, Terry Bradshaw is living proof that anything can happen during the divisional playoffs. Of course, he was involved with the immaculate reception during this playoff round about 100 years ago.
Oh, that's funny.
Joining me now, Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, and of course Jimmy Johnson. And you'll tell us that, of course, this was a design play.
Exactly. all great plays are design plays.
I talked to somebody in my travels out here this week, and they actually said to me, and I quote,
"You fly private jet. How could you talk to anybody?"
I was leaving my truck going to the airport, and somebody actually said to me, "How could a quarterback possibly claim any credit for that play whatsoever?"
Someone had. What do you mean? I had to get outside.
It was a broken play. You were on your back, falling down. You chucked it up. It went off someone's helmet illegally.
I did not chuck it up. I saw somebody running down the middle of the field. Oh, what do you know?
All I know is tonight we're going to see Superman Michael Vick play and the Mad Mike Martz.
That's a good lead-in, Jimmy.
My man. My man.
Would you say Jimmy was recruiting around that time?
My man.
Here,
all right, folks. Oh, don't go there now. The divisional playoffs could be the best weekend of football all year long. And tonight we have an outstanding matchup worthy of prime time. The most exciting player in the NFL, Michael Vick, goes up against a perennial offensive powerhouse, the St. Louis Rams. Calling all the action, the Goose, the Moose, and the guy who is always looking sprucey indeed, Mr. Dick Stockton. Hey, fellas, good evening.
And good evening to you, JB. And, of course, an injury note. Isaac Bruce tried to test his injured groin, could not run full speed, and will not play for the Rams tonight. So second-year receiver Kevin Curtis has got a lot of speed, will start in his place. And, Darryl, of course, 2 big issues in this game for the Rams that they have to worry about. One, of course, Michael Vick, we can say it 100 times. What do they do to prevent him from running wild? Ran for 109 the first time.
I don't know if there's anything that they can do, and he really epitomizes that old cliche, you can't stop him, you can only hope to contain him, and that's what they're going to have to do. Realize he's going to make his plays during the course of the game, but make sure it's not a game-breaking play. What they're going to do in the passing game is challenge his accuracy by playing tight man-to-man coverage, but what that does, it forces you to turn your back to the best athlete on the field. Now, when he starts to scramble, they're going to try and use the sideline as an extra defender. They don't want him loose in the middle of the field with a two-way go.
You know, you got to think that there's going to be a high-scoring game because the Rams like to put up points on the artificial turf. Mark Bulger needs to be protected by his line.
He absolutely does. The St. Louis Rams offense is all about getting the ball down the field vertically, and to do that, you've got to have protection. Now, back in week 2, the Atlanta Falcons front seven was all over the offensive line of the Rams. They've got a new starting right tackle and a new starting left guard, but they were beaten across the board. They never matched the intensity or the speed, and that will be critical this evening.
And Tony, speaking of week 2, it may be ancient history, but how do you get the bad taste out of your mouth if you're the Rams?
If you're the Rams, you are so happy that you get to go and redeem yourself. They gave up 5 sacks last time they went against this team, and they just can't wait to get out there today to prove to everybody on this platform, the playoffs, that they can still contend.
All right, Tony, and of course, once again, the injury update. Isaac Bruce out with the groin injury. Steven Jackson, who will bear most of the work at running back, has sore ribs and will play wearing a flak jacket. Game coming up shortly. Back to you, JB.
All right, Dick, thank you so much. As the guys mentioned in week 2, Atlanta did win the first matchup between these two squads. In fact, all the divisional playoff games are rematches from the regular season. And TB, whether you lose big or, in fact, have won, does it make any difference in terms of the rematch for the losing squad?
Kind of like marrying your ex-wife. You know what I'm talking about? You already know what you're getting. I mean, there's no surprises there. Shouldn't be anyway. I mean, it's why you remarry her, right? So I don't see. I kind of like this idea of rematches. I know it's not a good analogy, but, you know, that's fresh on my mind here, so it's pretty good stuff.
You're not in there.
I like rematches.
You have a chance to correct a mistake. So you wouldn't have married her again, right? You
know, and I see that's a good point.
You know, I'm going to bring
that's a good point.
I'm going to bring it back into football.
That was football.
Because I read some stuff and looked at some film, and the left tackle position was a problem the first outing. Pace just got back from a holdout. The right tackle position that's been such a problem for the Rams all season long. They feel like they've got it solidified. Their running game, which was non-existent in the first game with Jackson and Falk, is much better. And Bulger is hot as can be. Those 2 weeks off with the injury turned out to be a blessing for him. Live arm.
Yeah, and as I said before, you have a chance to correct a mistake, and you also have a chance, if you're a defensive coach, Larry Moore and me, for St. Louis, to see the best way to defense the Superman, Michael Vick. The best way, Tampa did it, 1st of December. They shut him out. Rush 6, blitz 6. That way you take away all the running lanes. You know, don't use that spy. That's the worst thing in the world, because there's no spy that can run with Michael Vick. Blitz 6, play man-to-man with a free safety, and they'll shut down the running game. They'll shut down the lanes as far as Michael Vick scrambling.
How about being on the road? I mean, I think that's tough enough. And then in a dome where the noise is even louder. Right. And if I just happen to think that the Ram football team is ready. Going there and being around those players and seeing how jacked up they were, I just happen to believe they're going to put on a pretty good show today.
Hey, TB, I
studied tape. What are you laughing at? I look at tape. What are you
What tape?
Yeah, special tape.
We're just getting started with the Ford pregame show. Let's check out the road ahead.
It's good tape.
Still to come, Michael Vick might be the most exciting player in football, but Atlanta's turnaround from worst to first wouldn't have happened without its vastly improved defense. Howie examines how this unsung group of Falcons helped the team take flight. Also, the Rams reached new heights with a wild card win last week, but can they avoid the drop that has typified their roller coaster season? TV's in St. Louis with Mike Martz to see if the coach is in control or just along for the ride. All that plus Frank's pick for today's winner on this one and only Fox NFL Playoff Special. The one and only Ford Fox NFL Special is brought to you by HP. Services and technology help companies face, manage, and love change. By the new Singular, raising the bar. By State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Ford, an unprecedented 6 new vehicles. Right here, right now. Ford, built for the road ahead.
Fox's Super Bowl coverage begins with Buck, Aikman, Collinsworth, All Access. Then, TB, Howie, Jimmy, Troy, and Chris give you their untold stories of the Super Bowl. From there, Tony Hawk presents the Boom Boom Hug Jam right before a 1-hour Best Darn Sports Super Bowl Roadshow period. Then, of course, we'll get you ready for kickoff with our Super Bowl Sunday pregame show, and it all begins February 6th at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, right here only on Fox. All right, folks, last week the playoffs had 3 upsets, and Frank Caliendo missed his 1 pick with the Packers. Today, Frank looks to become the emperor of picks so he heads for Rome.
Clones, let's talk about today's matchup. The Rams and the Falcons, two dome teams. Get this through your domes. St. Louis, the team that would have a 6-8 record without playing the Seattle Seahawks, will take down the ATL. And no dome talk would be complete without my favorite Chrome Dome, Terry Bradshaw. He always says the same two words after one of these bits. Not funny. Not only is his reply tired and lame, it is simply not true. Take a look at him giggling like a schoolgirl as he watches Frank's segments. Phenomenal. Terry, let's see if you finally might have something creative to say. Go ahead, have a take, and don't suck.
Somewhere in America, a village has lost its idiot.
Ooh.
Now that's
funny.
That's funny.
That is funny.
Hey, Frank, that's funny.
Not funny, Frank.
Don't give TB the last word.
Right. I had the last word. Let's go on with the show here. This is good.
11 years, and he ought to know that. I'm sure he's been watching prior to he came on board here. Hey, folks, we've got a lot more playoff coverage on the way. The St. Louis Rams were barely a 500 team in 2004, but they are undefeated in 05. Up next, our guy, TB, with the last word, of course, finds out how the inconsistent Rams turned it around. Meanwhile, the Falcons' D has been consistent and effective all season long. Big boy Howie Long shows us why the Falcons' unsung D is one of the best.
You know, we're trying to build something very special here, that year in and year out consistently, we have a winner on the field. When you have that, you're going to get the nationally televised games, you're going to get the attention, you're going to get the notoriety.
Howie Long says this guy, Patrick Kearney, made most of his 13 sacks from pure hustle. As a matter of fact, we will hustle right back as well after this. Well, if Michael Vick is the X factor, then this guy, Algie Crumpler, is the Y factor. The Pro Bowl tight end is Vick's top pick. And this season, he crumpled the opposition with 6 touchdown catches.
State Farm covers the field. Brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, providing insurance and financial services.
All right, folks, and welcome back to Studio A as we welcome you back to this Fox NFL special. Time now for State Farm to cover the field. Now, if you ask a casual fan to name 3 players on the Falcons defense, more than likely he can't. But the team that led the league with 48 sacks was, in fact, the no-name team first Atlanta Falcons.
Well, JV, contrary to popular opinion, the Falcons are more than Michael Vick. They have a defense that plays with a resolve and an intensity that mirrors that of their young head coach and their defensive coordinator, who was unceremoniously let go last year in Green Bay. This is your Falcons defense.
Brady Smith, defensive end.
Ryan Coleman, defensive tackle.
I'm Patrick Kearney, defensive end.
Best player on our team is our team. When I hear our players talk about team and, our best player is our team, that confirms to me that we've got the right culture growing here.
Travis Hall, defensive lineman.
Ed Jasper, nose tackle.
There's a perception outside of the team that this is a one-man team.
We knew coming into the season that was the man, Michael Vick. So, it's a good thing for us. So we just try to keep him on the field as a defensive unit.
Does this football team play with a little bit of a chip on its shoulder?
Absolutely. Particularly defensively, not only because of Michael, because of the season we as a defensive team had last year. And a lot of people totally equate our defensive performance to Michael missing. And we had a lot to prove coming into this season.
Matt Stewart, linebacker.
Chris Drab, linebacker.
Mario Williams, linebacker.
Keith Brooklyn, line breaker.
Huge difference for you from 3-4 to 4-3.
Yeah, that 3-4 took a couple of years off my career.
They're like dog years.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was hoping to get in, 13, 14 years, but I'm just trying to make it to 10 right now. So.
Back across the middle, it's intercepted. Roll out the red carpet, touchdown.
Kevin Mathis, cornerback.
Aaron Beasley, defensive back.
Jason Webster, defensive back. D'Angelo Hall, cornerback.
Ed Donatel, interesting hire given the circumstances that he departed from Green Bay under.
I really think that he deserves a ton of the credit for where we are as a team and especially as a defense. This is a guy that came in after some bad things happened to him in Green Bay, and he was made the scapegoat for really one play, is what everyone thinks.
Here it is. It's 4th and 26. Caught by Freddie Mitchell. He does
The true test in life, not only in football, is how you respond to adversity. I couldn't be happier. You know, the management here, the ownership, you know, Jim Moore, this is a hell of a place to work right now, and we're having a lot of fun.
C. Hall, safety. Brian Scott, safety.
The Kansas City beating, and you're a defensive guy. What did you tell the team at halftime?
I said, we're not punting and we're not kicking field goals. I said, we're trying to win. I said, we will never concede.
Loved when he said that. You know, we're down 31-3 at halftime. The odds of us coming back, well, maybe 1%, 2%, you know, ever making a comeback and winning that game, but 0% if you don't try.
I said, maybe we'll punt in a couple of years, but right now we're trying to establish something here. And I think it's important that the players know that I'm going for it.
We have all the right guys in that locker room, you know. I could use an analogy. I mean, we got all the right guys on the bus, and it's headed in the right direction. That's a great feeling.
You know, I asked Keith Brooking, their all-pro middle linebacker, I said, what's the key to stopping this Rams offense? And he said quite simply, being physical with their wide receivers. I said, well, everybody says you're going to be physical with them. I don't see anybody being physical with them. He says, you can't. I said, why? He said, because they tackle themselves. I said, what do you mean they tackle themselves? He said, they catch the ball over the middle, they see you coming, and they fall down. I tell you, Jimmy, they got something special going on in Atlanta. They put a premium on two things, character and speed.
Yeah, and Howie, there's no question. As good as this defense is, they're going to get some big plays against the Rams. They're going to sack Bulger. They're going to do this and that. But on the other side, my man, Mike Martz, as far as attacking that defense, I don't think there's anybody in the National Football League that is as good as Mike Martz attacking a defense. He will get some big plays against Atlanta, you know, because the first time they played, Atlanta blitzed 24% of the time. And so he's going to get some big plays against that blitz. I promise you, they're going to be big plays both sides.
You know, I'm used to disappointment coming from this side, but not from you.
No. I've always said, offensively, he is as good as there is in the league.
My guy, my man.
He's my man.
Did you get the invite to his golf tournament?
I'm riding with you.
You're riding into play.
I'm riding with you.
I happen to. Here's how I feel about Mike Martz and his offense. I happen to know this for a fact, Howie. Don't you dare say a word. I will drop you right here on the set. You let me talk. I got stuff to say.
Is this a fact?
Huh?
Is this a fact?
They like to set up and drop back 5 to 7 steps, meaning they like to throw 10 to 15 yards and even deeper, which puts a premium on protection, which puts a lot of pressure on their line, which is not good when you go against speed rushers. But, Howie, you know I hate the word if, but if, in fact, they can give Bulger the time, I do believe they will have a, don't you say it, they'll have a real big day. Bulger will light it up throwing the football. If.
Can I speak now?
Okay. Go ahead.
If. I thought you hated him.
Why do you have to
And when did he become your man?
He's always been my man offensively.
You talked about him getting a game management guy to follow him up the sideline.
I'm not talking about calling plays. I'm not talking about special teams. I'm not talking about turnovers. I'm just saying scoring points. He's good.
Howie, for the layperson, what were you talking about in terms of dog years not being able to
Well, you know, every dog year equals 7 years. It's kind of like my 11 years really been...
But no, the 34...
Are you telling us you're unhappy here? We can take care of that.
Actually, I meant more...
You want to slide over here, Jimmy?
I'm just smirking.
I'm not real sure about the setup for next year.
Well, try to get an answer about the 34 defense and dog years a little later. But anyway, tonight the Falcons defense faces an explosive Rams offense. Up next, Terry raps with the Rams, and the question is, will the real Rams please stand up? Is this the team that won 3 in a row, or the squad that is, as Jimmy Johnson was alluding to, minus 24 in the turnover department?
When you take risks and do something different, the first thing you have to understand is you're going to be severely criticized if you fail. And if you can't handle that or deal with that, then you need to choose another line.
Well, if tonight's game comes down to game management, Jimmy, who has the edge, Martz or Mora?
Probably Mike Martz is the guy that he has on the sideline with game management.
All right, boy, look here. He slid on that one. We'll manage to come back right after this. Hey, February 6th, here's stories of past glory that have never been heard before in the Untold Stories of the Super Bowl. Our own Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, Jimmy Johnson, Troy Aikman, and Chris Collinsworth will reveal their untold stories as well as count down the top 10 Super Bowl moments as voted on by you, the fans. Now, to vote for your favorite moment, go to foxsports.com on MSN and the keyword top 10. All right, folks, we welcome you back to this Fox NFL special. You know, St. Louis is the gateway indeed to the West, but this season the Rams have been the gateway to the unknown. You either get fast and furious or a car wreck. Well, TB, lately the Rams certainly have been revving it up pretty doggone good.
They have, James. You know, I don't think there's a coach, and you guys might agree with me in the league, more misunderstood, kind of like me here. I'm more misunderstood than anybody in the world. Mike Martz, tell you folks, you get down there and you get a chance to meet this guy. He's a pretty special guy, and his players will attest to that. Check this out. Roll that tape.
The enthusiasm, the energy's back. You guys are very confident.
It is caught for a touchdown. Torrey Holt.
We've come together as a group. Coach Martz has done a great job of keeping us focused.
Firing into the end zone. Touchdown, Rams.
Guys are starting to make plays, and that's exciting at the right time.
The Rams are a resilient bunch. They've overcome injuries, inconsistent play, a player-coach confrontation, and intense media scrutiny of almost everything from play calling to game management. But when your methods are different, as Coach Martz openly admits, and you fly in the face of conventional wisdom, you face harsh criticism if you don't produce.
When you're different, when you do things differently, you will always be criticized. When you take risks that everybody else thinks are unnecessary or don't believe in. But nothing great was ever achieved without great risk.
How can a guy take so much criticism and so much hate mail and all that and still stay focused and get his football team ready to play? And he's done that.
We're going to play fast and furious. That's what we do. You know, that's just the way it is. Get used to it.
Explain to me what it's like playing for a coach. It seems like as long as you execute it, fire it in there, fast and furious, interception, hey, that's okay.
It's fun. You can, he'd be more mad at you if you didn't throw it, if you play scared. If you go out there and wing it and throw some interceptions, see, that's just the way he is.
And you're a team that likes to throw football. But you may run 12, 13 runs in a row. Right. Then you may come back out and run 8 or 9 passes in a row. Right. What makes you think like that?
You know, you get into a game and you're rolling pretty good in the running game. You keep running. They say, okay, they're going to throw it here. So they start guessing with you. You just keep running it.
You like that too, don't you?
I do.
You do.
It's fun because the players enjoy it. They understand it. They know what we're doing. And it just breeds a certain confidence that we're taking control of this football game. And it's fun.
So this is kind of a different setting. Even had an owner write a letter. Explain the letter.
Be happy to. This is
when people said you were going to be fired.
There's an irresponsible report that was the case. Georgia was angered by it, and I talked to her on the phone, and she said, Mike, what can I do? I said, there's no way that I can tell them without a little bit of a doubt. And so she sent a letter. It really alleviated a lot of the anxieties with some of the players because it was such a distraction for us.
As one, they cannot defeat us. Let's be one. Bring it up. 1 on 3. 1, 2, 3.
How do you get the most out of your football team and yet keep them excited and loose? Because I think that's the key to winning these games.
Well, you're right, being loose. And the one thing that we've always told them, and particularly as we get going here now, is you just can't play this game tight. Big games you can't play tight. And you cannot play a game afraid of making a mistake and letting your teammates down.
That great Southern poet from Hall Summit, Louisiana, novice Genoa Gay, once said that a mind convinced against his will is of the same mind still. To spot all the proof about how good these Rams are, a lot of people refuse to believe that they have a chance to win this football game today. Their quarterback is hot, 5 touchdown passes in the last 3 games. They won a playoff game on the road in Seattle. They're averaging over 400 yards a game, 27.6 points, that's stats, a game. Not bad offensively, Jimmy.
Yeah, TB, I think one thing about Mike Martz, he is different. He likes being different. But the players, they have bought into what he's doing. They like fast and furious. They like not being negative whenever they turn the ball over. And, obviously there are some shortcomings, but as far as offensively, they can score points, and everybody in the league knows that. Defensively, if they'll step it up against Michael Vick, they have a chance to win this game tonight.
Well, you talked about it, special teams before. It's been a shortcoming for this football team, the St. Louis Rams. The guy that may be their best special teams player is Mike Furry, number 6 wide receiver, has been inactive for a number of games simply because he is the number 6 wide receiver. Shock of all shocks. Last week, he decided to activate him, being Mike Martz. Guy made unbelievable plays last week, turned their special teams around. Will he be a factor today?
Can I ask you guys something? Do you think if the Rams hold the quarterback Vick in the pocket, do you think they shut him down?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
JB, what do you think?
I think they lock on one man-to-man coverage with a free safety and rush 6 now.
Yeah.
You know, they have to take away all the lanes. They got to take away all the lanes.
Feed off him. So, Jimmy, last time the Rams did a poor job in max protecting, even with Marshall Faulk, who normally does a pretty good job of blocking and catching the blitz, as well as Jackson. You think they'll do a better job this time?
I don't know that they're going to max protect. I think he might get them all out to get the big plays. And so he may get 5 out on every play. But he's got to get rid of the ball.
Yeah, okay, point well taken. Hey, folks, it's the greatest show on turf against the fastest quarterback on earth, as we just talked about. The Rams battle the Falcons. Dick Stockton quarterbacks our 2-minute drill. Hey, Dick, it's all yours, buddy.
All right, JB, and although it's been said many times, many ways, getting off to a fast start is important. And maybe in this game, I can't see the Rams falling behind by a lot of scores, knowing that Bulger has to play a one-dimensional game. Do you?
Well, they have shown they have the ability to come back, but when you're talking about a playoff setting on the road with this type of a crowd, and they're playing one-dimensionally, they're struggling running the ball, and it's all on Mark Bulger and that offensive line, that's a bad scenario because that defensive front 7 of the Falcons dominated them last time they played. Now, for the Falcons, what the Rams are going to try and do is jump out on them early because they have shown on film during the course of the season that they are very uncomfortable playing from behind. This is a run-oriented offense first. Michael Vick makes plays, but they're not a good come-from-behind team.
Yeah, they'd love to make Michael Vick a pure passer tonight. And Goose, what are your final thoughts?
Well, I think it was really wild to see how different both of these teams prepared in the warm-up. The Rams came out, were very quiet, relaxed, very businesslike. And on the other hand, the Atlanta Falcons were all fired up, jumping, got the fans going. It's going to be pretty wild to see what happens in this game.
All right, good to see you all fired up and relaxed at the same time. Back to you, JB.
Name O'Brien.
All right, Dick, thank you so very much, folks. And let me just tell you right now, it is indeed over as far as Pittsburgh and the Jets are concerned. Doug Bryan missed 2 field goals in regulation. They could have gotten it from. Take a look at it, TB.
There you see right off the bat, Santana Moss, James, taking this punt back all the way 75 yards. All right, the last 4 punt returns in the postseason for a touchdown have been all at Heinz Field. And then out of the pocket, Roethlisberger intercepted. Say it ain't so. Reggie Tongue take it 86 yards to the house. Touchdown. Holy cow, who could have thought this was going to happen? 17-10 Jets. 4th quarter now. Roethlisberger, shuffle pass. Hines Ward, 4-yard touchdown, ties this game up. 17 all, under 6 minutes left, and then the Jets, after an interception, Doug Bryan misses a 43-yarder, 47-yarder there, no good. Now we go into overtime. Here we are. Now the 43-yarder pulls it left. Holy cow, what's happening? Heinz Field, the magic keeps on coming. Now we're in overtime, folks, and then Jeff Reed nails this 33-yard. Did he get it in? He did. Game-winning field goal, Pittsburgh 20, New York Jets 17. Congratulations, Steve. What a game. Jets put up a heck of a fight.
No doubt about it. So the Steelers move on now, and I'm talking about escaping with this victory here by 3 in overtime over the Jets. And
wow.
Jimmy, I know there are a number of copy points we can talk about, but first of all, Ben Roethlisberger did play like a rookie today. 2 picks, 3 turnovers total for the team, 1, of course, with Jerome Bettis.
Well, one reason he played like a rookie is because of the Jet defense. And everybody's wanting to, talk about how, this guy's coach of the year, this guy's coach of the year. And without question, congratulations to Bill Cowher and the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Herm Edwards did such a great job in the playoffs and getting this team to the playoffs. And not only Herm, also his offensive coordinator who's been under fire, Paul Hackett. I thought he did an excellent job last week against San Diego and then again today. And then the guy, the real star, Donnie Henderson, defensive coordinator for the New York Jets. He has done magic with that defense. First-year defensive coordinator. He's done a great job with the Jets defense.
Well, Tony Saragusa, he made a good point. You watch the difference between the way the St. Louis Rams took the field in warm-ups and the way the Atlanta Falcons took the field in warm-ups. St. Louis Rams, been there, done that. Ben Roethlisberger survived a bad outing. Will the jitters be gone next week? He got that out of his system. It's the first week against a very good defense. He struggled against this defense last time out. Emotion plays such a big part of playoff football. Will it play a big part of the game in Atlanta? If Atlanta falls behind early, will that emotion be drained out of that football team? St. Louis has been there and done that.
Yeah, as former players and for our viewers out there, believe it or not, Coach, you know this well too, is that the intensity level, the speed level of playoff games actually picks up over the regular season. I think Ben learned today just exactly what I'm talking about. He'll be better next week, but I think the intensity level in a championship game goes a little bit higher than that. And I just want one note here I have is that the Jets are the only team in NFL history now to have had 3 straight overtime games in a row, and I echo what you said about Herm Edwards and that defense and the Jets. They had these Steelers beaten today had they only been able to kick field goals.
And redundant again, Jimmy, too. Again, you mentioned about Herm Edwards taking his team across country against San Diego, coming back across country, and boy, do they play excellent football indeed. Final thoughts on this game. Who do you like, Rams, Falcons?
I like the Rams, but the only thing is Michael Vick, more than any quarterback in the league, struggles against the blitz. Most sacks, one of the worst in the league as far as his passing percentage. I think if the blitz gets to him and he turns the ball over, the Rams can win this game.
Good, bad, or indifferent, it's how you manage a football game. Will the Rams protect? Will they know in key situations when to go for it on fourth? Will they be out of timeouts when it comes time at the end of a half for a key situation?
Right, and you said halves. Halves have been really the albatross around the Atlanta Falcons that gets to half. 2 minutes before the first half and 2 minutes remaining in a game, which have really destroyed the Atlanta Falcons. And no team is better at scoring with 2 minutes left and a half or the end of the game than the St. Louis Rams.
All right, it'll be the Rams and the Falcons coming your way. It'll be the Goose, Tony Siragusa, the Moose, Daryl Johnston, and their anchor, Dick Stockton, coming your way up next.
It is Saturday night, and we are live. Welcome to Atlanta, the jewel of the Southeast, where tonight the Georgia Dome plays host to its first NFL playoff battle in 6 years. And moments ago, the St. Louis Rams took the field, and this is where they captured their only Super Bowl 5 years ago. And right now, you look at Michael Vick playing in his first home playoff game ever as the Atlanta Falcons starters getting set to be introduced, and inside the Georgia Dome, a sea of red and black and white towels are being waved by the capacity crowd of 70,000. And what a dream year it has been for these Falcons. NFC South champions, and greeted by a vocal crowd here in Atlanta as we welcome you to the NFC Divisional playoff between the St. Louis Rams and the Atlanta Falcons. And welcome everyone to the Georgia Dome. I'm Dick Stockton along with Daryl Johnston and Tony Siragusa. Both of these teams feel they are ready for prime time. And if it's entertainment you're looking for, you've come to the right place. Take a look at the Atlanta Falcons. What a turnaround year. 11-5 in Jim Mora's first year as head coach. Michael Vick was healthy, a great defense all around. But Daryl, in essence, this is probably the first crucial game that this team has had to play all year.
But Jim Mora is not a big believer in creating momentum coming into the playoffs. He thinks you can gain that edge back during the course of your preparation during the week, and that's because the Atlanta Falcons are a very good team. Michael Vick gets a lot of the attention down here, but there's a lot of facets that are overlooked. This defense is very sound. They led the NFL in sacks, and their special teams are excellent, and they could be a difference maker this evening.
Meanwhile, the St. Louis Rams obviously had a chaotic year. A lot of it centered around their head coach, Mike Martz, but they have finished strong. They are healthy. They won their last 3 games, all must games, and they're very confident, which really belies a team that was 8-8 coming in.
Yeah, the St. Louis Rams are the complete opposite of the Atlanta Falcons. They are big believers in momentum coming into the playoffs, and they have ridden that wave from 6-8 to the divisional round, and for them to continue riding that wave, there's two things that they're going to have to do tonight. Defensively, they're going to have to slow down Michael Vick. They're not going to stop him. He's going to make his plays. Just don't let them be game-breaking plays. And then on the offensive side of the ball, they have got to make Mark Bulger feel secure in the pocket. This offense does not believe in dropping the ball down and running the football exclusively. They want to get it down the field and stretch it, and to do that, they're going to have to keep him on his feet.
All right, Darryl, and down on the field, not your garden variety sideline reporter, but our end zone analyst, Tony Siragusa, and we'll hear what Goose has to say right before kickoff. As Michael Vick is introduced, we want to remind you to make sure to make your fantasy pick. Text message 63504 on your singular wireless phone or log on to foxsports.com.
You're watching Fox Sports, broadcasting in HD and presented by DirecTV. We think TV.
And we're back at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, getting set for the game between the Falcons and the Rams, and getting ready for the toss of the coin. And the Rams have more captains than the Falcons. Darryl, do you think that gives them an edge?
Just in case something breaks out at the center of the field. I wanted to make sure they had things covered.
Referee Terry McCauley, who ironically was the referee in the previous meeting between these teams back in week 2.
It is tails. Atlanta won the toss. Receive. Which way do you want to kick? Stay where you are. Atlanta won the toss. Will receive.
So the crowd cheers as the Falcons win the toss. That means Michael Vick will operate first for the 11-5 Falcons. Coming off the bye week, the Rams defeated Seattle on the road in the wild card game to reach this divisional playoff as Jim Mora makes his final notes. And Tony Siragusa, you've been down on the field before in important games. So what elements do you feel is important?
Dick, tonight's game has nothing to do with how many Pro Bowls you've been to, how much money you make, or where you've been drafted. It has to do with you as a player. Are you willing to sacrifice everything you got to give it to your team to win tonight? I'm going to be looking at the little things. The guy who gets cut on the line of scrimmage, the defensive lineman. Is he going to get up, run downfield, and make that play that's going to determine the outcome of this game? Those are the things that I'm going to be watching today.
And those are the things that Daryl Johnston used to do when he played for the Dallas Cowboys.
You better keep an eye on Tony. He might sneak into the locker room and put some pads on tonight. He's ready to go.
I'm ready to go, Moose.
He's revved up. And tell you what, when you look at the exploits of Michael Vick in the air show of the Rams, you can see that this could be an entertaining game. There you see the Falcons 13th in the NFL in kick return, and the Rams are last as Alan Rossom prepares to receive the opening kickoff. The Rams have been woeful on special teams, and they happen to be going against a team that's one of their assets.
Yeah, but they have actually been very good along with everything else. Trev Fault, Mike Furry, getting Mike Furry back. Their special teams play last week against Seattle, probably the best all season.
Well, they'll have to do it again as the, can't say the wind blew the ball off the tee.
I don't know, those towels, there's a lot of those towels swirling. They might be making some breezes out there.
That's me breathing down here, guys.
All the way from 75 yards away. So Jeff Wilkins getting set to start this game. Jim Mora, in his first year as head coach, turns around a 5-11 team. And an asterisk would be the fact that Michael Vick was injured most of last year. Here is the opening kickoff, and Alan Rossom will field it on the 4. And Rossom gets cut down shy of the 25-yard line. And so Atlanta goes on offense. You want to talk about respect. Here's what Leonard Little, the defensive end, said about Michael Vick. I've never seen anybody like him. It's like having the best athlete in the world at quarterback. Pretty close.
Yeah, and the funny thing is when you talk about a great athlete, you hear comparisons to Barry Sanders. Well, Barry Sanders didn't touch the ball on every snap. Michael Vick does. and his athletic ability, the potential for that game-breaking play on every single snap.
2 wide receivers. And the main target for the Falcons has been their tight end, Algie Crumpler, who comes in motion. First down and a handoff to Warwick Dunn. And Dunn bulls his way ahead for about 3 yards with Anthony Hargrove making the tackle. And we said Culpepper, or I should say the leading receiver on this team is Algie Crumpler. And the offensive line has done a great job of setting up the run.
At number 1 in the NFL in rushing, there's Algie Crumpler heading off to the Pro Bowl. Had a great season, but one of these wide receivers has got to step up. Peerless Price, Des White, Brian Finneran. One of these guys has to emerge tonight on the outside as a receiver for Michael Vick in the passing game.
Second down and 6, and Vick with the short drop will throw, and it'll be caught by Algie Crumpler, who has missed the last couple of games. He had minor knee surgery, but they're going to need him. Picks up 3 yards. As you take a look at the Rams defense, and the Hargrove, Jimmy Kennedy, they weren't there the last time these teams played.
No, and the defensive line has been the reason for the big turnaround defensively. The change in scheme, they went from basically playing one front under Lovie Smith to playing multiple fronts. They were the last group to really get this system and buy into it. And that has really been the big difference. They're generating a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks over the past 3 weeks.
Third down and 2 for the Falcons. And there is the design rollout, and Vick was in trouble for the moment, and he's going to now make the Rams in trouble as he runs to the open field. And this is what the St. Louis Rams feared the most. Michael Vick getting trapped and then finding an opening, runs 47 yards.
I just don't know what you do because he's coming out all the way this way. He's going to bring the ball back all the way the opposite direction. Look at the flow of the defense. They do a decent job of covering the lanes, but he is just too fast. His vision is unbelievable. He's got such a feel for when to pull that ball down, and he has such an acceleration that even though he's got defenders around him, he separates himself.
And a single season highest yards per rush, Vick 7.5, and a first down for the Falcons on the 21 of St. Louis. So already a big play, and here is Warwick Dunn, who's capable of a lot of big plays in his own right, gets tripped up by Robert Thomas, the middle linebacker, after getting 3.
I think that's what happens when you have somebody as explosive as Michael Vick on the offensive side of the ball. These other guys get lost in the shuffle. Warwick Dunn has had a very good season, and he's done it very quietly because there's so much attention on Michael Vick. He and T.J. Duckett both had very nice years running the football, but you just don't hear a lot about him.
You look at the passing numbers of Michael Vick, nothing to shout about. But remember, the yards on the ground count as much as the yards in the air. And this guy's done nothing but win. 2nd and 7 on the 18 of St. Louis. Play action for Vick. He has time. Pass is caught. And down to the goal line. And in for the touchdown is Crumpler. That didn't take long.
We got a little fisticuffs at the end of that. Kevin Schaefer, number 76, and Bryce Fisher, number 94, battling. But as bad as an opening to a game as Mike Martz could have imagined, he has Mike Vick with the game-breaking play, and then the one guy that you got to take out of the passing game, Algie Crumpler, scores the touchdown.
An 18-yard pass by Michael Vick, and Mike Martz already finds himself in a deficit with 3 minutes gone by in the opening quarter. The extra point by Jay Feely, and the Falcons take a 7-0 lead. They were up 14-0 when they met back in week 2.
The NFC Divisional Playoffs on Fox are brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39.
Falcons offensive coordinator Greg Knapp right in the middle of that group as the Falcons go 76 yards on 5 plays, but the big one play was the 47-yard run by Michael Vick, and that is the longest run by a Falcon in their playoff history. So the Rams now with Avion Kaysen back deep. Kicking off is Jay Feely. Falcons lost only one home game this year, and that was against the Detroit Lions. 17-10. Here is Kaysen. Got by one potential tackler and is stopped at the 20-yard line by Brian Scott. How do the Rams answer the Falcons' touchdown? And the Rams with their first opportunity with the ball, and Mark Bulger. Here's what Jim Morris said about the Rams quarterback. He throws the best deep ball in the league, and on this artificial turf indoors, you know that's what he's going to be doing, coming off a fourth quarter engineered victory over Seattle, and then the defense held. But the Falcons defense may have a lot to say about what Bulger does here. 1st and 10 at the 19. And here's Marshall Faulk changing direction and going out of bounds after he was cut down by D'Angelo Hall. Picked up 4 yards on the play. So Marshall Faulk not appreciating that tackle by D'Angelo Hall. And all of the spotlight should be on the Rams offensive line tonight, Darryl.
Blaine Saipai is going to be challenged. Tom Newton, we'll see how long he can last. It's going to be key for those guys to do a good job on the Falcons' front four, because that's where they generate most of their pressure. They don't need to bring linebackers and secondary guys. That defensive line led the league combined with sacks.
And you remember Isaac Bruce out with a groin injury, could not run before the game. Torrey Holt going in motion on 2nd down and 6. And again, they go to Marshall Faulk, gets blocking, and Faulk dives close to the 1st down, and he appears to have it. D'Angelo Hall, the #1 draft pick for the Falcons out of Virginia Tech, making the tackle, and there is the 1st down, picking up 7. Defensively for the Atlanta Falcons, and their front 7 is their strength, and boy, do they get to the ball.
Yeah, Rod Coleman's had a great year, but that whole group as a whole, great chemistry together. They've played together for 5 seasons now, really know each other very well. They don't have to see what the player next to them is going to do. They have that feel, and it takes a long time, but it's a great advantage when you get to that point.
And DJ, the secondary may be the weak point of this team, which is what the Rams want to probe. And they hand the ball off to Marshall Faulk, and Faulk with a good gain, getting 6 yards out to the 36-yard line. So Mike Martz said he wants to run the ball early, and so far he's kept his word.
And it's a great changeup right now, because what the Atlanta Falcons want to do, they want to get the Rams into a position where they're one-dimensional. They don't want them to be able to run the ball. They know that Mike Martz doesn't make a big commitment to it during the course of the game, but they don't want them to have any success. The more they feel one-dimensional, the more they can tee off on Mark Bulger.
And the better off the Rams can run, the better they can throw the ball and loosen up the defense. Nearly 5 minutes gone by, 2nd down and 4, and here is Marshall Faulk finding an opening. And he's not what he was. He's been nagged by injuries, but still has those juke moves. Once he gets past the line of scrimmage, he gets 7.
He's not what he was when he gets out into space with breakaway speed, but he still has the ability to make people miss in small spaces. And look at the vision out the backside, and that freeze right there on Brian Scott, number 24, to almost get around him. That's where he has slowed down a little bit. In his prime, Marshall Faulk would have pulled away from Brian Scott.
24 yards on 4 carries, and the rookie Steven Jackson, who is slated to handle the bulk of the running back duties, replaces him. Play action, and Bulger wants to go deep, and he has an open man, and it's Kevin Curtis. Kevin Curtis will go into the end zone for a touchdown. 57 yards to the man that Mike Martz said a year ago was the fastest receiver he's ever had.
Well, you lose a guy like Isaac Bruce, and you can't replace his production, but that is the deepest spot on the Rams roster. Kevin Curtis and Sean McDonald, very, very good receivers, had a great season this year. They were non-factors in week 2. This secondary better start paying attention to number 83, Kevin Curtis, and number 84, Sean McDonald.
That's exactly what happens, Moose, when you start playing the run and the run is effective. All of a sudden, now they're going to come out with a play action, and the receiver's going to be wide open down the field.
Jeff Wilkins for the extra point, and he ties the game. And so that's exactly right, Goose. You run the ball, they got to respect the run. Opens up the 57-yard pass. Curtis, boy, can he run, ties the game. Isaac Bruce, inactive with a groin injury, went over 100 yards the last time these teams played, and his replacement, Kevin Curtis, running for the touchdown on the catch and run, and the only touchdown that the Falcons have allowed at home in the first quarter this year. So that is a stunner, ties the game. Allen Rossom is back deep And kicking off is Jeff Wilkins. Heading over to the near side and on the 2-yard line. Rossom's dangerous. But coming in to make the play is Brandon Schiller. Gets to the 20-yard line. 7-7. We'll be back to the Georgia Dome.
The NFC Divisional Playoffs on Fox are brought to you by Vytorin, by HP. Services and technology help companies face, manage, and love change. By McDonald's. And by the new Ford 500, built for the road ahead.
Fans haven't even had a chance to catch their breaths, and already we have seen big plays. The 47-yard run by Vick, and then the 57-yard pass play from Bulger to Curtis. And in 10 plays so far, we've averaged 15 yards a play. And we're just settling down here. First down at the 20 for Atlanta. And Eric Vick, well covered downfield, is Brian Finneran by Travis Fisher. And a penalty flag down. Back near the line of scrimmage.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Let's go back and take a look at that touchdown on the previous drive. This is going to be Kevin Curtis out here. He's going to go in motion, but it's Brandon Manu-Maliuna who actually does the really good job here by running the route here and holding that defender. That's how he gets so wide open across the field in the zone. And that's one of the things that the St. Louis Rams offense does really, really well, is control routes to affect opposite parts of the field in their coverage. Look at Kevin Curtis come so open in that vacated zone.
First down and 5 following the penalty, and again play action, and rolling out is Vick, and the ball is tipped away, and the Rams nearly with a chance for the interception. That was Antoine Edwards, the free safety, who was picked up when waived by the Miami Dolphins. Remember, he's taking Aeneas Williams' place, who was out with a neck injury and nearly picked one off.
Wow, did he miss an opportunity for a huge play in the game. Look at the break on the ball he gets. It floats a little bit. He's able to get right across the face of Eric Beverly right there. Jim Mora talked about not believing in momentum coming into games, but he felt that there was momentum shifting plays during the game. That was a missed opportunity right there by Antoine Edwards for one of those.
Rams have had a lot of trouble, DJ, in picking balls off. Only 6 interceptions all year. Warwick Dunn up the middle. And Warwick Dunn goes backward as he is dumped at the 37-yard line after a 12-yard pickup by Robert Thomas, gaining over 1,000 yards this year. He scored 2 touchdowns back in week 2 against the Rams.
And here's that offensive line of the Atlanta Falcons starting to get on a little bit of a roll again. They're not mentioned around the league as one of the best, and you don't know why, because they're the #1 rushing team in the league. Now, I know a lot of that yardage comes from Michael Vick, but those guys up front do a great job.
Team is averaging 5.1 yards per carry. And they come out with an empty backfield out of the shotgun, and there is the fake, and there is Vick trying to get something going, and he has a receiver downfield and Algie Crumpler, but knocking the ball away was Tommy Polley. So the linebacker going downfield, and I'll tell you, Crumpler can really get downfield on his patterns.
Yeah, he is a vertical threat from the tight end position. He's matched up with Tommy Polley right there. And we talk about Michael Vick as a runner, but the one thing he can do is he can throw the ball down the field on the move very well, and he's got that sneaky strength in his arm. He just floats him, but it seems like it's not going to be able to get there, but it does travel. And here's something we're going to take a look at all night during the course of the game. Yards that happened that only happened because it was Michael Vick, and we go back to that real big one on that opening series when he should have been tackled at the line of scrimmage and went for 47.
Second and 10, and there is Dunn breaking one up the middle, and Warwick Dunn is off. And they're not going to catch him. Warwick Dunn, no flags down in the end zone for the touchdown. So we're about halfway, a little more than halfway perhaps, through this first quarter, and we have had 3 long plays and 3 touchdowns. That was a 62-yard scamper by Warwick Dunn.
Unbelievable that the Rams last week held Sean Alexander in check the entire game, and already tonight we have seen 2 big runs against this Rams defense, and right there it's just poor tackling. You know, they struggled with assignment, but right there it's just basic fundamental football of tackling the runner.
Demetrius Butler had the best chance to tackle him and miss. The extra point by Feely, And the Falcons regain the lead 14-7 with just under 8 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Prime time, entertaining, you bet.
Watch number 23, Jeremitrius Butler right here. He comes across in motion with the tight end. Now he's got to squeeze this play down. He's just standing there waiting. He's got Warwick Dunn right there. That is just a poor play by Jeremitrius Butler in run support.
You know, Moose, it almost seems that the defense is almost waiting to see what Michael Vick and Warwick Dunn are going to do before they react.
They're reading too much, Tony. Avion Kaysen from the goal line, returning for the Rams. And Kaysen gets sandwiched at the 24-yard line. Well, on Sunday, February 6th, one of the biggest names in all of music will be performing live during television's most watched event. Don't miss Paul McCartney in the Ameriquest Mortgage Super Bowl 34 halftime show. Sunday, February 6th, only on Fox. 39-34 was a few years ago and close to where you won.
34-39, it doesn't matter, Dick. The Super Bowl, baby.
Brady Smith, who recovered a fumble for a touchdown back in September, and in motion, Torrey Holt. 1st and 10 at the 23, and here's Marshall Faulk. And Faulk running right into the cornerback Jason Webster, picks up 4 yards on the play. So the longest rush postseason history, Warwick Dunn, 62 for the Falcons, Michael Vick, 47, and back in 98, when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, Jamal Anderson ran for 34.
That's usually what the Rams are doing, the explosive plays in the air, and we've got the Atlanta Falcons with the explosive plays on the ground.
2nd down and 6. Rams kept true to running the ball and setting up the pass, which worked. This time it's a play fake. Bulger in trouble going down. Torrey Holt leaps for the ball. 2 Falcons in the neighborhood, including Aaron Beasley. It'll go incomplete, bringing up 3rd down.
Mark Bulger is very good when he's in the pocket of feeling the pressure and moving around to buy some time, and that's the only way he was able to get this ball down the field to Torrey Holt. And you see the confidence that this group has. Torrey Holt is double covered, but Mark Bulger is going to take a shot down the field for the big play. They're now interested in checking the ball down to tight ends and running backs as they work through their progression.
Dane Looker has come into the game as the wide receiver and is on the slot to the right. 3rd down and 6. And Bulger getting plenty of time and completes the pass to Curtis for the 1st down. So Kevin Curtis just waiting at the sideline, and Bulger can get it there, 21 yards.
Good job picking it up. Keith Brookings going to try and run a pick with a little roll right here, but the Ram offensive line doing a good job of passing the game, and there's Mark Bulger again buying a little bit of time, just moves outside, and Kevin Curtis is really getting off to a great start. You see right there, just a little subtle move. D'Angelo Hall takes his eyes off him for a second. He breaks for the outside for the catch.
And Blaine Saipaia, the right tackle, who did not play in the first game. Tom Newton didn't either, so this team trying to get it done on the offensive line this time. 1st down on the 48-yard line, and the handoff to Steven Jackson, and he's going to be thrown for a 4-yard loss by Patrick Kearney, who gets into the act for the first time tonight.
Well, the draw is a good changeup when you're going against an aggressive front and you want to run the ball. But I like what they were doing in the opening of the game. Blaine Saipaia, he's got to get Patrick Kearney up the field. He didn't stay with him long enough and just kind of turned him loose right into Steven Jackson's lap.
And that is a matchup that the Falcons feel confident about. Patrick Kearney, who led the team with 13 quarterback sacks. 2nd down and 12. And Bulger in a crowd. Pass off the hands of Torrey Holt. Dropped that one. Would have kept the Rams about 5 yards shy of the 1st down, but it brings up 3rd down and long.
Well, Mark Bulger's never going to be confused for being Michael Vick. when he's playing the quarterback position, but I just want you to see how he's able to maneuver in the pocket. Look at the feel he has, and then the quick release. He's able to get that ball up and out. You have got to stay with your receiver the entire time because he can really buy time and get that ball out quickly.
And you're right, Darryl, and I think that finally he's healthy. He's had that bruised shoulder, missed a couple of games, but was hurt even earlier in the year. 3rd and 12 out of the shotgun. Bulger's pass, and it's caught by Holt. So after dropping one, Torrey Holt makes a superb one-handed grab, good for 14 yards, and a first down to the Falcon 40.
This is a heck of a play by Torrey Holt because this ball, I don't know if he mistimed his jump or if this ball got on him quick, but D'Angelo Hall is in good position for the coverage. But what a heck of a catch by Torrey Holt right there coming across the middle. And there's the toughness of Mark Bulger again. Lucky they didn't get a flag on that. Coming down around the quarterback's knees, they could have got a 15-yard penalty very easily right there.
Hey, DJ, another Western Pennsylvania quarterback. They're all tough, you know that. Under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. First down. And a quick play fake, and Bulger in trouble, and down he goes. Try to get away and try to make the loss as little as possible, and did. A 2-yard loss with Travis Hall finally getting to him, and good coverage downfield by Atlanta.
Yeah, and Patrick Kearney, he feels that when you get a sack, it's a function of the whole team. And it's coverage down the field, and it's all because of the coordinator right there, Ed Donatel. This is the defense that he has put together. It really resembles more of what he did at Green Bay than what Jim Mora did out in San Francisco.
And Mike Martz said that, I didn't prepare this team the last time well because I thought we were going to see Mora's San Francisco defense instead of Donatel's. Now he knows. 2nd and 12, spinning away is Jackson, and a great play made by Keith Brooking. Boy, is he primed for this one. And a rookie when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl. A loss of 1.
Well, that was Jim Mora's big concern. Were these guys going to peak too early emotionally? And here he is all the way on that side of the line. Just look at the feel, the pursuit. That's the one thing that you're going to see tonight watching these Falcon defenders. When a guy is being wrapped up, there are 3 and 4 more defenders coming at the ball. And that's why they can generate so many turnovers.
They're not big, but they're pretty physical, Tony.
Absolutely, that backside is where you want to attack, and the guys on the backside have to be alert for that cutback.
9th play of the drive, 3rd down and 13, and the pass is thrown over the head of Torrey Holt, incomplete. And so 4th down coming up, and Kevin Stemke will come in to kick for the Rams, and coming off the field.
That's Tom Newton right there, and that's going to be a big concern for the Rams, because he's that left guard. Now, they don't know how long he can go. He made it into the 4th quarter of the Seattle game last week, but that's a position that the Falcons were able to exploit back in week 2.
So Alan Rossom back deep, and Kevin Stemke, who took over for Sean Landeta, who was waived, trying to kick it into the corner, and the Rams are right there, and they save it. Now, they have to hope they didn't have their foot on the line, and they did. Kevin Garrett played it too close for comfort, had a foot on the line. He didn't have to play it that close, and as a result, it is a touchback and out to the 20.
Unbelievable. You've got to know where you are on the field. They couldn't get a better situation. Don't get greedy right there, Kevin. Just down it at the 2. Steps into the end zone. He can't get his feet back out. And there's another one. We saw Antoine Edwards with an opportunity to intercept the ball in the last series down around this part of the field. He wasn't able to make that play. Right there, Kevin Garrett. That would have been a great special teams play.
We've been doing this all year, and we salute again our military people. Today's game is being seen around the world on Armed Forces Television. We want to send our best wishes to the men and women of the Helicopter Combat Support Squadron HC-4, the Black Stallions, stationed in Sigonella, Sicily, and we appreciate all you do for America, and that goes for my cohorts as well, who have been very active in the support. First down, Warwick Dunn. And Dunn picking up close to 4 yards. Tommy Polley brings him down.
This Ram defense has got to shore up what they're doing. They've just given up some huge chunks in the running game.
Well, as far as history, the Rams losing their last 20 postseason games in which they trailed by 7 or more points. 14-7 the score. 3 quick touchdowns on big plays. in this first quarter, winding down the 2:40 remaining. Second down and 7.
Michael Vick
and
out of
Warren
motion.
Dunn passes to Michael Vick, and Vick is tackled, so that didn't fool the Rams at all. And it was a play that, you know, as far as Warwick Dunn is concerned, he says, you know, this relives my option quarterback days when I was in high school.
Warwick Dunn should have pretty much ran with the ball when Michael Vick motioned out to the side. It looked like every defender was just watching Michael Vick. No one was watching Warwick.
Yeah, he kidded with us. He said, you know, I might not throw it to him. I might look out there and just tell Michael that he looked pretty covered because I know he pulls the ball down every once in a while on his own.
Michael, get out of the way.
You look covered out there. I was going to take this one myself.
So something fancy by the Falcons. It is 3rd down and 5 on the 25. Vick stepping up, completes the pass, and it'll be a first down to Brian Finneran. A couple of years ago, he was the most reliable wide receiver the Falcons had, and maybe he still is, with Peerless Price not coming through as much as they had hoped since coming over from Buffalo.
Well, Peerless Price was a great complimentary receiver when he was up in Buffalo. When it was Eric Moulds and Peerless Price, they were great together. And he came down here, he was the focal point. He was supposed to be number 1. He's never gotten back to that level he was in Buffalo, but they've got to have somebody else, whether it's Des White or Brian Finneran, to step up to try and help Peerless Price out on the outside.
First down and showing blitz, and here's Warwick Dunn slicing his way off tackle, turning the corner and being ridden out of bounds by Antoine Edwards, but not before Dunn picks up 20 yards and gets into St. Louis territory.
This running game is downhill. It's one cut and go. They're bringing Adam Archuleta up on the blitz, but it's to the opposite side. And look, Warwick Dunn never breaks stride. These guys are getting on their blocks, and he is moving full speed. You're going to see right here, watch all the guys come out. Kevin Schaefer, Roberto Garza coming out. There's Fred McCrary leading the way, and he doesn't ever have to break stride on that run.
Meanwhile, Warwick Dunn gets a breather, and T.J. Duckett, who had minor knee surgery and was limited toward the end of the year, has come in for his first stint, but he'll be in there a good deal and play action. Pressure on Vick from behind, and Vick escapes everybody and gets close to the first down. He is tackled a yard shy by Adam Archuleta. Ryan Pickett also involved on the play, and that may be the end of the first quarter.
I can't imagine being a defender playing against him, the frustration that you must feel, because you can play as well as you could play defensively and still give up a potential first down because of his athletic ability.
Michael Vick is averaging only 28 yards per carry in 2 rushes so far in this game. Maybe that's
He's got to pick it up.
One of the reasons why it's skewed that the Falcons are the #1 rushing club. And that is the end of the first quarter here at the Georgia Dome. NFC Divisional Playoffs with the score, the Falcons 14 and the Rams 7. And we start the second quarter. Dick Stockton, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa here at the Georgia Dome. The Falcons leading 14-7. They led the league in rushing, averaging 167 yards a game, have 162 already as we start the second quarter. It'll be second down and 1 for the Falcons in Ram territory, and here is Duckett, and very close. Duckett may have the necessary yards, and it may be a little short.
You know, guys, if we look at a couple plays back when Warwick Dunn had the run to the left-hand side, you don't see it in the screen, but the fullback is lined up to the left. You have 2 uncovered guys. You have the guard right there and the fullback that they have to account for. When Warwick Dunn gets the ball, there's no one that's not covered. All he has to do is find his way through there. That's why he's getting so much yardage. The nose cannot get reached on that play.
Well, it's like you said, Tony. I mean, they had uncovered guys out there, and all of a sudden your fullback's able to get up into the line of scrimmage, and he's making contact 2 yards on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. And, you know, Warwick Dunn, I mean, he just never broke stride on that.
Ryan Pickett's got to see that it's almost an unbalance where the fullback's in the backfield. You got to count him as an offensive lineman and move over to that gap a little bit more, Moose.
And you wonder if they're trying to pre-snap something, because they also brought Adam Archuleta to that side where they had all their defensive linemen shifted to.
Meanwhile, Dunn has gained 106 yards on 6 carries. It'll be third down and about a foot, as you saw the measurement. Leonard Little right now on the sidelines as the Rams come up 7 strong, and Michael Vick on the quarterback sneak.
This is going to be interesting.
This could be close as well. And Vick looks like he might have been hit in the face. No word yet on the spot. And they're going to measure once more. But Michael Vick apparently got hit in the face on that quarterback sneak attempt.
Maybe he's trying to get a helmet-to-helmet contact flag.
Tony. And they're short. So it'll be 4th down and a couple of inches. And the Falcons, who are in St. Louis territory at the 39-yard line, and Greg Knapp sending in the play. 4th and inches for the Falcons early here in the second quarter.
That defensive line has got to realize not to jump off sides in this situation. I would not be shocked to see Jim Moore and Greg Knapp go for it on this play, but they could come out and try to just draw them off sides. Know what the situation is on the field.
And you better be ready for the quick count also with him.
If they had gone for 3, it would have been a 56-yard field goal. Falcons pretty successful on 4th down. And here's the handoff to Duckett, and he's going to make it with ease.
They still don't have him down.
T.J. Duckett let it down. Give it to the 260-pound running back. He gets 5 yards. And a first down inside the 35 for the Falcons.
Well, that's all T.J. Duckett right there, because they had a shot on him, maybe short right there. There's your first guy. I think it's 55, Robert Thomas. But look at the effort by T.J. Duckett.
But, you know, Moose, I agree with you. The running effort was great, but it looks like the Falcons are not tackling crisply in this game.
No, the Rams have tackled very poorly up into this point, and it's not, you know, sometimes they seem tentative, like Tony said, whether you're worried about Michael Vick and his scrambling ability, but they are not playing. They're not matching the intensity of the Falcons right now.
They have Duckett and Dunn in the backfield at the same time from the 34, and the handoff to Duckett. Not a bad combination to have. A flag is down as Duckett is dropped after picking up a yard. And the signal from the umpire is holding. That was a preliminary signal from the umpire that the holding was the penalty. Did not indicate against which team.
You guys got Bryce Fisher and Michael Vick having a few words back and forth down here.
Holding, offense, number 64, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Jim Moore doesn't see it.
Well, let's find out what happened to Bryce Fisher. He comes up, takes a shot at Michael Vick right there. They get into it. Now, here's the thing I like. Here comes his offensive lineman. I think it was Todd McClure, number 62. He gets right in there. That's Bryce Fisher's second altercation tonight. He was in one earlier with Kevin Schaefer.
Good stuff, Chuck.
And the Falcons line quick to protect their meal ticket.
Yeah, that's every offensive lineman. Anybody hits your quarterback, you go after him.
The whole team was ready to protect him. It looked like they were going to run out of the field.
First and 20, and Michael Vick escapes from a possible sack and finally goes down at the 36. Leonard Little caught up with him. Gain of 7.
But he spins out 92, Damian Lewis. He's going to have the best shot at him. He's bull rushing right there. It looks like he's got the opportunity to grab a hold of him, maybe even has a handful, and he just disappears from people.
How do you grab a ghost, Moose?
Very well put. So Michael Vick has gained 64 yards on his 4 carries thus far, including the 47-yard run, which set up the Falcons' first touchdown. 10th play of this drive. Coming up, 2nd down and 12 on the Ram 36. Vick backpedaling, and on the screen, Warwick Dunn. And Dunn has dropped it to 33. And once again, Leonard Little getting downfield, making the play a gain of 2.
Boy, and he's just starting to pull away right now. Look at that, 37 yards that he should have lost on sacks. He's turned that into a positive 64 yards in rushing for a net of 101 yards already at this point of the game.
And last year, when the Falcons were 5-11, Vick hurt. Their season went down the drain when he was injured in preseason, came back late in the year, and the Falcons had a spurt. The 11th play of the drive coming up. So he is the X factor, wild card, whatever you want to call him. 3rd down and 10. And Vick stepping up. And his pass. And it's Michael Jenkins, and he makes the catch for the first down. 15-yard pickup to Jenkins, and wide receivers can wear numbers other than 80, as Jenkins is proving right here, the rookie from Ohio State.
Yeah, and this is a guy, he may become the guy on the outside for the Atlanta Falcons during the offseason and going into next year. There's a lot of excitement about Michael Jenkins down here as a wideout. So you can see right there, Michael Vick is just not all about running the ball. You know, once he gets used to this system that Greg Knapp has brought in, I think he's going to do a good job throwing the ball down the field.
And Jenkins made a tough catch. That was a low throw. So a first down at the 20-yard line, and here's Dunn. And the Rams stop Dunn, who is already gone over 100 yards for no gain. That was Brian Howard, undrafted rookie from Idaho, the defensive tackle, as the Rams rotating their defensive linemen in this first half.
Well, they're going to be exhausted trying to keep pace with Michael Vick as he gets out and starts scrambling, because you've got to be relentless in your pursuit if you're going to have success against him. So it's going to be very critical for them to keep that rotation and that defensive line going all night.
This is want to call a big possession in the first half. This would be it, because the Falcons get 2 touchdowns up. They can kind of dictate things. So it'll be 2nd down and 9, already in field goal range for Jay Feely. And Vick hands off to Dunn. Warwick Dunn again slices off, and he'll walk in for the touchdown. Great block that time by the fullback, Fred McCrary, who was signed in mid-December. Falcons have had a lot of fullback injuries, but Dunn goes in from 19 for his 2nd touchdown of the first half.
And this is just like the play that Tony was talking about earlier. Look at Warwick Dunn. He never even has to make a move. Adam Archuleta with a poor angle up to make the tackle, but he got on that press angle, and he never varied. You watch him. He's just running straight for the sideline. There it is again. They get the double. They can move up to the line of scrimmage, and there's Fred McCrary's block and the poor angle by Adam Archuleta.
Feely with the extra point, and the Falcons have a 2-touchdown lead with plenty of time remaining in the second. It's 21-7, and the Rams have to go to work real fast.
The NFC Divisional Playoffs on Fox are brought to you by Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. By America Online. Want a better internet? You belong at America Online. By Thank You from Citi, a new kind of rewards program from a card you can count on. And by Miller. There's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call.
And here's Warwick Dunn, and for those people that think he's a finesse football player, you haven't seen Warwick Dunn enough, because he gets a lot of his yards up the middle. He's kind of like a Tiki Barber style runner, and a kind of a running back that the Falcons can use the way the Eagles use Brian Westbrook.
Sneaky strong.
Good description. Avion Kaysen on the return, and Kaysen brings it out close to the 25. Joe DeCamillis instills a lot of pride in the Falcons' coverage teams. Rams 2 touchdowns down. And there are the Rams trying to regroup their defensive unit on the sideline. They've been stung, trailing 21-7. The interesting thing right now, Darryl, will be how does Mike Martz play it? You don't want to abandon the run, although he likes to do that too early in the game. But if he does, he could really see this thing fall apart early. First down at the 25. Steven Jackson is the running back, and they're going to give it to the rookie from Oregon State. Very impressive is Jackson, and he picks up about 9 yards, stopped by Brian Scott.
And Tony, we'll go back to the last one for you.
You talked about Mike Marks giving it up. Atlanta's got to stay with it. Right here, there's got to be some miscommunication. You have the tight end, the tackle, the guard, the center, and the fullback matching up on 4 guys. You have 5 on 4. I mean, I can actually run. What they have to do is get the umpire involved, get him a helmet, and tell him to fill the B gap. That's how they can stop that run.
Did you say you could actually run?
Yeah, I can run a little bit. A little bit.
2nd down and 1. And here is Jackson for the first down. Steven Jackson, who is playing with the bruised muscle around his ribs and wearing a flak jacket for the first time, picks up 5 yards. And Mike Martz told us yesterday, DJ, that he was actually going to see more action at running back than Marshall Faulk.
Yeah, and it's not a question of Marshall Faulk declining in his abilities. It's a question of Steven Jackson getting better. And he just gives you the big play threat when you hand the ball off to him because of the speed. and he's a very physical runner. He's good in pass protection, so obviously you lose a lot with Marshall Faulk, but Steven Jackson is closing that gap.
First down at the 39-yard line. Larry Turner, a rookie, has replaced Tom Newton at left guard. We saw him limp off on the last series. They give the ball to Jackson, and Jackson getting in a first down. And you can see why Mike Martz is so impressed. And he was careful to tell us last night, Darryl, that Marshall Faulk really took a lot of the pressure off. He said, don't worry about me. Go with Jackson. I know how good he is. And he said, he is still our leader. This is Marshall Faulk's team, but only a class guy like that could see the changing of the guard, so to speak.
Yeah, you don't meet many people like Marshall Faulk, and it takes a lot for a guy to realize when there's somebody behind him who can do more for the team and take a back seat.
First down for the Rams on the 46 of the Falcons. Play action this time, and Bulger's pass hit high for Kevin Curtis. D'Angelo Hall was in the neighborhood, and it brings up 2nd and 10.
And that's one of the plays that's a staple of this Ram offense. That thing is almost automatic, that deep in route, and Mark Bulger just a little bit out of sync right now. The last time they were out there, they got a lot of pressure on him. And we talked about him having to feel secure in the pocket. You wonder with Tom Newton out, now if all of a sudden that Atlanta Falcon defensive line is going to start concentrating at that left guard spot.
Larry Turner was a 7th-round pick from Eastern Kentucky. So a lot of load on his shoulders right now. 2nd down and 10. And they'll go to Jackson. Not much there as the Falcons closed up the middle, and Travis Hall and Patrick Kearney limit Jackson to a gain of 1.
Boy, this is getting to be a nasty game on the field right there. We got some stuff going on after some of these plays, and that's the intensity of the playoffs, and it's the finality of everything. You lose tonight, you're done for the year. You don't come back in until you're getting ready for the off-season training program. You win, you go on. So I think that's where all the emotions start to escalate. It's the finality of the playoffs.
You're right, Darryl, and Jim Mora has prepared his team well for really the most crucial game that they played all year. They sailed to victory in their division. 3rd and 9. From the 45-yard line, Bulger has time, and the pass is caught by Curtis. Kevin Curtis still on his feet. He is so deceptive along with his quickness, and picks up 15 yards to the 30-yard line. Rod Coleman journeyed downfield to bring Curtis down.
Well, to be able to throw these passes down the field to Kevin Curtis, you see the amount of time these routes are taking. We have to start to go back and compliment the offensive line because they are doing a good job up front in their protection. And yeah, they're only rushing 4, but that is a formidable group of 4 pass rushers in the defensive line of the Falcons.
Yeah, the defensive line is definitely doing a good job. I don't want to take anything away from the Rams, but to run all the way back 15 yards and make a tackle as a defensive lineman, that's the little things that I talked about earlier.
And that's exactly the little things that you said teams have to sacrifice, and that's what Coleman did there. Meanwhile, Marshall Faulk on the carry getting 2 yards. Kevin Curtis, who was a walk-on at Utah State and was looking for a career in firefighting and received a scholarship after leading the nation in receptions in 2001. He has 3 catches for 93 yards. 2nd down and 8 for the Rams on the Falcon 28. Bulger again with a world of time. Alone in the end zone is Torrey Holt for the touchdown. And I have to tell you, Darryl, that it was because the Rams were able to run the ball early with Steven Jackson to open up the pass, as it did when they scored their first touchdown. This good for 28 yards.
Yeah, Mike Martz is fighting everything not to all of a sudden abandon the run and just go to the pass. And I agree, Dick, the run early in this drive helps set up a play like this. You saw the double pump by Mark Bulger. That's how Torrey Holt got behind everybody on the double move. But again, the offensive line not only giving him the protection, but blocking in the run game also so they can stay with it. They are getting positive plays in the running game.
Torrey Holt has been on a roll the last 6 weeks. Here's Jeff Wilkins with the extra point. So the Rams hang in there in a high-scoring first half, under 5.5 to play in the second. 21-14 in favor of Atlanta.
Today's game on Fox is brought to you by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
21-14. We've seen the Rams do this before, but are the Rams going to be able to do anything about the great running game of the Falcons? If they're going to survive, they're going to have to do something.
I don't know. They had 242 the first time. You figure there's no way they can do that. Well, they're almost to 200 by halftime this time, so they've got to get something corrected. You've heard Tony Siragusa talk about maybe some missed lineups and them leaving gaping holes and allowing the offense to really control that defensive front seven of the Rams.
So far, the special teams has not been a factor. Alan Rossom fielding the kickoff inside the 10-yard line and gets a very good return out to the 35. So Rossom returns at 26 yards. 21-14 in a high-scoring half. Fox Tuesday, American Idol is back. Be there from the beginning when the biggest show on television returns. It's the 2-hour season premiere, American Idol. Tuesday at 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox. You got a lot of memories?
I just think better than half the people on that show.
The early shows are the best shows. When they get to the end, when all the people with talent, that's great. But it's nice to see people in the beginning.
She bang, she bang, she bang.
Tony, you should be on the early shows. 1st and 10 with 5:19 to go. Falcons, good kickoff return starting from the 35 on the rollout. Pass caught by Peerless Price. His first reception of the game and gets him nearly 8 yards.
Realized that was a pass.
Pisa Tino Isamoa covering on the play.
And that's the play the Rams have to worry about when they're running the ball so effectively to the strong side on the press is that bootleg out the backside. And we've seen Warrick Dunn basically go untouched on runs on that press play. Now here comes the boot out the backside. And that's the complement on the play action to what they've had so much success with to this point.
And you're absolutely right that the Falcons rushing are 5 yards away from 200. And we have nearly 5 minutes to go in the first half. They're going to try to get more right here and will as T.J. Duckett barrels his way up the middle and a first down to the Rams 45, so add 13 to Atlanta's rushing total.
Well, again, you're going to have support from the corner coming in right here, but he just doesn't squeeze down. It's 23 again, Jeremetrius Butler. That's T.J. Duckett getting his shoulder squared. You got to get down in there and squeeze that down.
Anthony Hargrove with an attempted arm tackle that didn't work.
You're not going to bring down that man with an arm. There's Antoine Edwards. He's coming up throwing his whole shoulder into him, and he's just steamrolling him.
And Tino Isamoa limps off the field, and that's bad news for the Rams. Brandon Schiller, the rookie from UCLA, replaces him. First down at the 45-yard line, and here is Duckett again. And Duckett picks up nearly 4 yards. Duckett and Dunn combined scored 17 touchdowns on the ground this year. Amazing.
Just amazing what they're able to do running the football and control the flow of the game, but also have these big plays. I mean, it's unbelievable that they can be so run-oriented and yet still be effective during the course of the game. You think it would be easy to shut this down. And yeah, you've got the X factor in Michael Vick, but you've seen the success that Warrick Dunn and T.J. Duckett are having.
Jim Mora looks very calm, and the other day he expressed that he was calm, almost tried to convince us that he was. Might have been a little uptight, doesn't look it tonight. Here's Duckett again, and here's T.J. Duckett. And if he doesn't lose his footing, who knows? He gets the first down inside the Rams 30, getting 12 more.
Well, right now they're not worried about the passing game. Look at all the guys that are up here in the line of scrimmage for the run. Now all T.J. Duckett has to do is break that wave. They've got 9 defenders at the point right now that are within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. You left Antoine Edwards. I don't even know if he gets a tackle on him. I think T.J. Duckett stumbled.
That's just having patience and waiting for that cutback to open up, Moose.
There is Pisa Tino Isamoa walking on the sideline. Falcons at 224 rushing yards at 242. Their season's high back in week 2 against this team. First down, play action. Vick backpedaling. And now he fires it up in the air and out of bounds.
He threw that ball while he was going backwards. You see that?
Yeah, and it went about 35 yards.
Oh, my God.
That's the thing about him. He's got that sneaky release, and that ball can travel so far. I thought it was going to be in the middle of the field for an interception. The thing goes 5 yards out of bounds.
It was Michael Vick who ran 47 yards on the opening drive to set up his touchdown pass to Algie Crumpler to make it 7-0. Bulger hit Kevin Curtis with a 57-yard huge play to tie it up. 2 TDs by Dunn, and then Bulger hit Torrey Holt. So it's been a wild game and movement in the line, and it looked like Hargrove.
Snap, false start, offense, number 80.
And he was lured offside by Eric Beverly, the second tight end behind Crumpler.
Some of those mistakes you can't have. You get on a roll and it's only 5 yards, but those pre-snap penalties, especially for a guy like Eric Beverly, he's going to get on that field. He's going to have limited snaps. He's got to make the most out of those opportunities.
Greg Knapp cooks up the next play. It's been a well-played game as far as the penalties go. Only 3 called in the game. 2nd down and 15 on the Ram 34. T.J. Tuckett is the tailback. Vick wants to throw. Vick can run. And Michael Vick fell down and he fumbled, and it's recovered by the Rams. Michael Vick lost the ball after falling down. Tommy Polley picks it up, and the Rams get it back. And this is a club that had very few takeaways this year, and this one was kind of a gift.
This is you wonder if Michael Vick gets tired sometimes and those legs start to get a little bit heavy, because he gets a nice block on the outside right there, but then he just starts to fumble. And there comes the ball out. Tommy Polley picks it up. Because he wasn't touched. That's a fumble. He just fell on his own.
And Polley very alertly was around the play, so the turnover giving the Rams the ball back when it looked as if the Falcons were going to do some more business. It'll be 1st down with 2:19 to go.
You never know what could happen if you run into the ball, guys.
Well, I tell you, Tony, it looked like he was going to be able to turn the corner for 7.
And the handoff to Steven Jackson. And Jackson is going to be knocked back by Patrick Kearney. What a year Kearney has had, and Jackson loses 1.
The comment we had Atlanta versus Seattle the last week of the regular season, and to hear the comment that Patrick Kearney had the work ethic of Jerry Rice is quite a compliment.
He was honored to hear that compliment. 2-minute warning here at the Georgia Dome. We'll be right back. 2 minutes remaining in the half, and tomorrow the NFC Divisional game begins at 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific with America's #1 pregame show, and then it's the Vikings against the Eagles. And Darryl, the Eagles have to finally prove that they can win in a big game without Terrell Owens.
Well, they get their chance tomorrow afternoon. We'll see, kind of similar to what Atlanta did. Philadelphia sat a couple guys down the stretch, didn't have a whole lot of momentum going in. We'll see if they can come out and perform as well as Atlanta has tonight.
2nd down and 11. And Mark Bolger getting more time, and on the slant, there's Dean Looker. And Looker close to the 1st down. Each team has all 3 of their timeouts remaining, and this is the story of the quarterbacks. Dante Culpepper with a brilliant game on the road in Green Bay last week with 4 touchdown passes, and Donovan McNabb 3-1 in NFC divisional games. In fact, a couple of years ago beat Vick and the Falcons in Philadelphia.
And the other thing was the way the Minnesota Viking defense played last week, too. Their best performance of the year.
3rd down and 1, and they're going to run the ball to Jackson, and Jackson is hemmed in, spins away, dives. I don't think so. Looked like he might have been down before he reached the yellow line, which is not official. Patrick Kearney had penetrated on that play. And a timeout has been called by the Falcons, I believe, and it is an Atlanta timeout with 1:17 on the clock. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have first half highlights and analysis, and the Fox Sports ticker has up to the second scores and stats.
One of those plays that you're not going to see that, but it's 3rd and 1. You're inside 2 minutes. You just had a turnover. You got an opportunity to get down the field, get to 21 all, get to 21-17. Something you just take for granted. Great penetration by that defensive line of the Falcons again. They stop Steven Jackson in the backfield. He makes a heck of an effort to try and get the necessary yardage for the 1st down, but comes up short.
So the Rams are punting, and of course the Falcons using the timeout with 1:17 and looking to get the ball in good field position.
Anxious to see what an Atlanta Falcons 2-minute drill looks like. They hand it off there, too.
Run that ball, baby.
Kevin Stepke. And Allen Rossom. Allen Rossom Rossom breaking one, gets into Ram territory, and Alan Rossom is going to go all the way. And that's what the Falcons beat you at. Special teams, and Rossom goes 68 yards for the return. He's done it before. In fact, this year, Alan Rossom returned one for a touchdown, 75 yards.
And there's the special teams disaster that Mike Martz was worried about. There's Joe DeCamillis making a great play for this team. You knew that they were going to play a factor at some point in the game. But on the punt, they kick the ball down. Now, Alan Rossom's got two guys flanking him on the side. Now, watch what they do. They sprint to the sideline, and now he's going to pull up like he's going to throw it. That takes everybody out of their coverage lanes in the center, and he goes directly up the field for the touchdown.
Jay Feely with the extra point. So D'Angelo Hall and Michael Williams were flanking Alan Rossom. And that was a well-conceived play, and it came at a big time because they knew they were going to get field position in any event and had the Rams on the heels. Once again, they didn't make it on 3rd down and 1.
Exactly. How critical was that 3rd and 1? Now, here's your guys that are flanking them right here. Now, watch. They're going to sprint to the sidelines. Alan Rossom's going to give a little pump like he's going to throw it. Everybody leaves their coverage lanes. Good blocking right at the point right there, and then a nice move on the punter, Kevin Stemke, to make the last guy miss and go for the touchdown.
First punt return touchdown in the Falcons postseason history. Joe DeCamillis, who is a holdover from the Dan Reeves regime, and in fact Dan Reeves' son-in-law, and has been nothing short of superb as a special teams coach.
Well, he's pumped up too. He looks like he's ready to go get some help, put a helmet, some shoulder pads on, and get out there with the guys.
59 seconds remaining in the first half. And once again, the Falcons opening up a 2-touchdown lead. That's George Stewart, who has coached in San Francisco with the 49ers. George Stewart is the receivers coach for the Falcons. Davion Kaysen, who began his career with the Rams, looking to return and maybe give the Rams some field position, but Feely gets off his best kickoff of the game and forces the Rams to take a touchback. Nothing new for the Rams. Their special teams problems continue in postseason.
Now you take a look right there, and it starts with the preparation, and you know they don't have the guys that are in there. It's a lot of different things that go into that mix. Is it focused on enough? I don't know if there's access to certain players, but I just don't think that Mike Martz has the commitment to special teams, and I think there's your proof right there.
Well, we know that Mike Martz carries a lot of wide receivers, and a lot of the players who normally would star on special teams, he doesn't like to use regulars either, so he really doesn't have the kind of people that excel in that area. First down from the 20, making the catch, his first of the night, Sean McDonald. And he stops the clock with 53 seconds, picks up the first down.
But there's nothing going to faze that guy right there, Mark Bulger. I mean, he's going to have that same look, whether he's down 14 or if they were up 14 at this point right now. He is all business in there, and we have seen the ability of this Rams offense to respond quickly, and it's going to be critical for him here in this last 53 seconds to generate some momentum going into the locker room with either a touchdown or a field goal.
First down, and Bulger gets hit as he releases the ball and overthrowing Dane Looker out of bounds.
That's what Atlanta's defense is going to have to do. They're going to have to get pressure with 4 guys. There's just 4 guys on the pass rush in order to be effective back there in the secondary, guys.
Well, when you have that group of receivers that St. Louis has, even with Isaac Bruce out of the lineup, it is still a pretty solid group. And to be able to generate all that pressure with your front 4 and be able to drop 7 guys back into zone coverage to cover all those throwing lanes is a huge plus for the Falcons.
Travis Hall very nearly got to Bulger in time. It'll be 2nd down and 10. From the Rams 31. And on the screen pass, here's Marshall Faulk. And Faulk is tackled. Be about 3 or 4 yards shy of the first down as we get close to a half a minute remaining. And now Bulger wants to stop the clock with a timeout. That is the first timeout for the Rams. Still have 2 more, but time now a big factor.
Yeah, it really is. And it's kind of unusual for the Rams to have 3 timeouts at this juncture of a half, isn't it?
Visa halftime report. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy out on the West Coast. Scores and highlights. Fox Sports ticker talking about the playoffs coming up. Yep, you're right, because one of the criticisms of Mike Martz, who has been, I think, great for the league with an exciting offensive array, has been, you know, the clock management, the challenges that when he's used it, and the timeouts.
It's his discretion at what point in a game is there a critical play, whether it's a challenge or he feels he needs a timeout. And I don't understand why people are so critical about it. You know, it really has never come back to bite him in a big situation where he's needed that timeout for a challenge late in the game or late in the half. You know, I'm sure that he would like to have a few at this juncture of a half or a game, but, you know, he thinks that there's times when there was a big enough play earlier that I felt it was necessary to expend one.
Here's a guy that just rolls the dice. He dials it up and he says, let's play on offense. 3rd down and 3, the bunch lining up to the right, and Sean McDonald now spreads it by going in motion, and a flag is down, and you can see the disgust on the actions of Mark Bulger, because we will have a false start.
Snap. False start, offense, number 76.
So
5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
5 yards on Orlando Pace.
He's on the outside. He's the one that's impacted by this crowd noise the most. And then on top of that, you got some fast guys playing the defensive end position for the Falcons.
So now 32 seconds on the clock. And of course, false start penalties because of the crowd at the Georgia Dome. 24 in the regular season, second most to Houston. 3rd down and 8. And Bulger's pass and caught. Well done. Kevin Curtis going out of bounds on the out pattern, picking up 11 yards. 1st down, stopping the clock with 29 ticks. But Curtis is starting in place of the injured Isaac Bruce. And in the first quarter, caught a 57-yard touchdown pass.
This is something that the Falcons are going to do this evening to try and slow this offense down in the Rams, and that's to take deeper drops in their zone coverages. But in a situation where you're in 2 minutes, you've got some preset plays, and you're going to have the ability to get the ball down a little bit shorter and then out of bounds. I don't think they should be playing that style right now. I think you go back to what you normally do, not take such deep drops into your zones.
Because they can run after the catch, and they can hurt you there. Bulger. And losing the ball, no indication, and now they call it an incomplete pass. Brady Smith. And now Bulger holding on to his left hand and a smile on his face. So it may not be that bad after all.
I tell you, there's nothing that gets the guys up front to respect more is that when they have a breakdown, Orlando Pace allows Brady Smith to come free and get a big shot on him right there. And he just gets up and smiles, and it's going to come from the top of the screen. You see right there, you've got to keep working, Orlando. You've got to get back up. Your quarterback stepping up in the pocket. The defender can see where he's moving. The offensive lineman can't. So if he's moving, you've got to attack him.
Brady Smith knocked the ball away, recovered for a touchdown in their regular season meeting. 2nd down and 10, Bulger. And he finds Marshall Faulk, who steps out of bounds before he got to the chains at midfield, stopping the clock, picking up 7.
We talk about Mark Bulger's ability to throw the deep ball and his accuracy in this timing-based offense, but I don't think we give him enough credit for how tough he is. I mean, that's a big hit right there. We know his shoulder, it's not at 100%. It's gotten better from where it was earlier in the season, but you know he's not 100% at this stage of the year, and that was a big hit by Brady Smith right there.
Very even-tempered quarterback, and that helps him in what he does. 41 sacks administered to him this year. 3rd down and 3, and down to 16 seconds. And the pass caught and going out of bounds is Kevin Curtis now with 11 seconds. A 9-yard pickup, but the Rams are now on the 41-yard line of Atlanta, so they may have one more play if they don't want to go deep, and possibly setting up a field goal. They still have 2 timeouts remaining.
Well, in this timing-based offense, you know, they can get a 10 to 15-yard pass play on the outside in about 6 or 7 seconds. So that would leave them 1 there. They've got the 2 timeouts left. But in this situation with 11, I wouldn't be surprised to see Mike Martz try and dial up something deep into the end zone, take a shot, and maybe have enough time to get 1 more and still a field goal.
That red dotted line is where the ball would have to be for Wilkins to try a 48-yarder. That was the best he did in pregame, and now Bulger trying to run up, and now the timeout is called with 2 seconds remaining as Travis Hall and Chad Lavallee, and now Bulger looks like he's down for the 8 count at least.
This guy's taking some serious shots, and time after time, guys.
I don't think this one is his shoulder. This one he gets up limping, so.
He's holding his hip, it looks like.
The backup quarterback is Jamie Martin, who was signed December 7th. Chris Chandler is the emergency quarterback, and Chandler played in 2 games and was excoriated by his coach, as you see this play again.
See how he tries to get down. Chad Lavallee has got the leg. He comes down awkwardly on that right hip, and then he's got another guy coming over the top right on the back of his hamstring.
Well, the good news, if there's any good news after this, is that the intermission is coming up shortly.
Get a head start, get him into the locker room right now. Hopefully it was just Travis Hall coming in there over the top, and it's a muscle bruise.
So Jeff Wilkins will try to give the Rams 3. It'll be a 55-yard attempt. Dane Looker, the wide receiver, is holding. We told you Wilkins' longest successful field goal in practice was 48. And the Falcons will call a timeout to let Wilkins think about things. And when he got 55, he got a lot to think about.
Yeah. I mean, when you're 7 yards beyond what your pregame long was, you don't want to be standing back there having to think about how am I going to do this one right now.
Well, the world has come together to support the relief efforts due to the tragic tsunamis that struck Southeast Asia 2 weeks ago, and you can join the cause and help those who need it the most by logging on to www.usafreedomport.gov to make a pledge that will make a difference. It's heartwarming at how many people have really come to the cause of this thing.
Well, with everything else, it was
needed.
Yeah. What was going on in the world before that hit, and to see the response since that time is very refreshing to see where we've gotten back to when we talk about the things transpiring over in the Middle East and what the response was over in Southeast Asia.
Travis Hall over near the runway, and now again the 55-yard attempt by Wilkins. Wow. And Wilkins' kick is good. Wow. His career long is 57 yards, and this would be the second longest postseason field goal ever, and it is. So the smile wiped off the face momentarily for Jim Mora. Wilkins with a 55-yarder, and that should boost the Rams going into intermission as they climb back to 28-17. Back with the Visa halftime report after these messages.
The Visa Halftime Report is brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
Fireworks right off the bat, TB.
All right, Jimmy Johnson said, contain Mike Vick. You have to take care of the lanes. Well, where's the lane? Lane opens up, away we go. 47-yard scamper, Michael Vick. 79 yards rushing in the first half. That led to a touchdown pass to Algie Crumpler, 7-0 Falcons. Back come the Falcons off tackle. Ward Dunn with over 120 yards rushing in the first half. 19 on that touchdown run. 21-7. Punt. Get the safety out of the way. Torrey Holt, 28-yard touchdown. Got a ball game. 21-14 now. Pump, fake, pass. Keep it. Allen Rossom says, here I go. First touchdown on a punt return by the Atlanta Falcons in postseason play. This one covering a whole bunch of land. Try 68 yards. 28-14. Atlanta over the Rams at the half. Boy, pretty exciting football game.
And speaking of exciting football game, the Falcons are first in the league in rushing offense and, of course, in big plays on the ground. Jimmy, they were true to form in the first half.
Everything we thought before the game is true. Michael Vick is Superman. I mean, without question. Now, Howie, I actually like the way the Rams are playing Atlanta. The only thing is if you commit that many people to the line of scrimmage, you have to tackle, because if you don't tackle them at the line of scrimmage, there's nobody back in the secondary. It's going to be a big play.
Well, they talk about the speed of the Rams, but speed is a big emphasis in Atlanta. Vick, Dunn, Rossom. Big plays. The thing is, you're going to see a lot of Duckett, I believe, in the second half. The Rams can't afford to leave 5 in protection. They've got to protect Bulger, who looks like he might not make it through the game based on the end of that half.
Scores 28-17.
Big field goal at the end. Big field goal.
Same amount of points they got in the first game when they played these guys.
All right, it was a field goal that decided the earlier matchup between the Jets and the Steelers. Steelers were lucky indeed, TB.
You got it. Everybody thought, well, they'll just run over these Jets. Man, Reggie Tongue there picks off young Ben Roethlisberger, then returns at 86 yards. Look at here, Jimmy. Look at here, Jimmy.
Speed, you know you love it. He didn't go to Miami either, did he?
Well,
17-0, 17-10 Jets now in the fourth quarter. Roethlisberger shuffle pass, Hines Ward 4-yard score. We're tied up at 17 all. Then Brian misses a 47-yarder, misses the 43-yarder. That was the 43-yarder, his second miss. We go into overtime, tied up at 17 all, and then Jeffrey nails this 33-yarder. Steelers now going to the championship game. 2017 is your final. What a game.
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger looked the part of a rookie throwing 2 picks, but the bottom line, as you said, TB, the Steelers are moving on.
It feels great, obviously, to get a win. Probably wasn't the game I would have liked to play personally, but a win's a win. And in the playoffs, you're going to take one no matter how it happens.
It feels great. We did everything to try to give it away. Defense kept us in it. And in overtime, went down and won the football game.
Today was very uncharacteristic of how we played, but, we're moving on next week. We're not going home. So, we can learn from it.
I feel as though, there's blood out there on that field that's ours. We left our heart out there today. We played, we put ourselves in a position to win.
No question about that. Curtis Martin is accurate. The Jets did play excellent football indeed. All right, some of you will be going to local news. Others will come back for a preview look at the Vikings and Eagles.
Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
And Saturday night's all right for fighting and all right for a spectacular football game as the Falcons lead 28-17. Rams will get the ball first. We'll see, Darryl, how much that last field goal, 55 yards, gives them impetus. But what a game for the running attack for the Atlanta Falcons. They take center stage.
Unbelievable. Yeah, they went for 242 back in week 2. And coming into this game, there's no way they're going to do that again. Well, they're at 239 right now. So it's just a matter of time before they go over what they did back in September. And you thought that the Ram defense was coming together and playing well enough to stop that. But obviously that running attack of the Falcons, something else.
Well, Michael Vick and Warwick Dunn each are averaging over 15 yards per carry. But how mobile and exciting is this guy?
He's just unbelievable. You can't defend him. I mean, you're going to slow him down. You just hope he doesn't have one of those game-changing plays. And unfortunately for the Rams, he had one in the first series. He went 47 yards, on one of the first few plays of the game. Got him down into the red zone and jumped out to a quick 7-0 lead. And there it is right now. Sacks should have accounted for a loss of 44. But with his elusiveness, he's turned that into 64 positive yards for Vick yards of 108.
And a touchdown pass to Algie Crumpler. He's completed 6 of 9 for 51 yards. The 45 combined points scored, second highest first half in divisional playoff history. Be very interesting to see how Mark Bulger is when he comes out. And right now, let's before they set the ball back up again, get a word from the Goose.
I talked to Coach Moore coming out of the tunnel. He said that he needs to go and get some pressure with 4 defensive linemen instead of bringing the blitz every time. He knows Mark Bulger's a little banged up. He needs to see if they put him in there. If they do, he needs to go after him right away and keep him off the field as much as possible.
All right, Tony, you can see a little wrapping around that left thumb, which was the first injury, and then Bulger was shaken up after that. Avion Kaysen
never turn around.
And they run into each other, and the Rams mess up the return. Brandon Manomaliuna going back and running into Avion Kaysen, so that's worst case scenario to start the half.
No, rule number 1, you're back in the wedge. You do not turn around and go backwards and try and field the ball over your shoulder. It's the deep man's responsibility to get to the ball wherever it is kicked. Brandon Manomaliuna, he has no right to be anywhere near that ball, and they dodged a bullet there.
Hey, the center fielder calls for the ball, calls off all the outfielders.
He's going to get called off for another reason.
So Mark Bulger will have to begin this from the 10-yard line. Steven Jackson is the running back. He has gained 26 yards on 8 carries. And the quick out to Kevin Curtis. And D'Angelo Hall was right there, limiting Curtis to a gain of only 1.
Have to see how that injury affects Mark Bulger. You pointed out the wrap on the thumb, but it seemed like the one that really bothered him at the end was something with his legs. So we'll see how his mobility is in the pocket. We saw him extend a few plays there with his movement, his presence in the pocket. We'll see if that has any effect, that last injury right before the half.
Speaking of the injuries, Isaac Bruce, out with the groin pull, but Curtis with 6 catches for 114 yards and a touchdown, so they haven't missed Isaac Curtis to this point. Steven Jackson getting the handoff, and Jackson picking his way out to the 17-yard line, gets 6 yards. Coleman and Stewart bring him down.
Mike Martz starting out how he started the first half. He was, when you're pinned back deep in the opposite ends of the field, the crowd noise is at its loudest closest to the goal line. So it's very important for you to be able to run the ball successfully in that part of the field. He was able to do it in the first half, and Steven Jackson, another good effective run right there.
Remember, the Rams had a 3rd and 1, could not convert on a handoff to Jackson. Rossom ran back the punt for a touchdown before the field goal at the end. Jackson going in motion to the left. It'll be 3rd down and 3, and the pass is dropped by Jackson. He would have had the first down easily. Instead, he can't hold on, and the Rams will have to kick.
You can't have mistakes like that in this situation because you are down by 11 points. You've got to grab every opportunity to make a play and execute it. Steven Jackson, look the ball all the way in, catch it. You're sneaking a peek down the field because you know you had coverage close to you.
So already unsettling conditions for Mike Martz's team, with Manu Moliano going back in the opening kickoff, colliding with Kason, and then Jackson dropping a first down pass. So 4th down, Kevin Stemke with the kick, and a great one. Going back is Rossom. Hang time of over 5 seconds. That's pretty good. And Rossom. Here's Rossom. He's doing it again. And finally tackled at the 32-yard line, Allen Rossom. And it was Joey Goodspeed who made the shoe top tackle after the 39-yard return.
Well, you get a kick like that, sometimes you outkick your coverage, and if your guys aren't getting downfield fast enough, you've got a lot of room between the returner and the first guys coming in. A good block by Brian Scott on Mike Furry, who was your first guy down, and then he continues and finishes right there. And then just some missed tackles right there, lack of pursuit. Joey Goodspeed gets him to turn back inside, but Joe DeCamillis has got his offense in great field position again.
On the 32-yard line of the Rams, an 11-point lead for the Falcons. And here's Warwick Dunn. And Dunn, who went over 100 yards, he had 126 in the first half, picking up 2 on first down.
And again, so much attention gets focused on Michael Vick. You kind of forget about Warwick Dunn, but he had a great first half. Just really set the tempo in that running game with some big runs. There were a couple times where he never had to break stride, had the big long touchdown run, but his offensive line has opened up some gaping holes for him to run through this evening.
And D'Angelo Hall, the cornerback, is lining up in the game and coming in motion wide to the left on 2nd down and 8. So Hall with man-to-man coverage, and the pass to D'Angelo Hall from Vick, but the Rams are there and bury him at the 24-yard line. It was Tino Isamoa, apparently all right now, and Robert Thomas, a couple of linebackers, and why not? D'Angelo Hall, quite an athlete, gets 6 yards as they sneak him in offensively.
Well, you've seen Bill Belichick up with the New England Patriots use Mike Vrabel as a tight end and receiver at the goal line, Richard Seymour as a blocking fullback down in the goal line package, and I think you'll start to see some of these coaches experiment with these guys who are such good athletes. If there's an opportunity for them to make a positive contribution on the opposite side of the ball, they're going to give them those chances.
Missed the first 6 games with a hip injury, and now he can do it all. And here's Vick on the bootleg.
Look out.
Michael Vick in a foot race, getting to about the 10-yard line. And just notice the way he accelerated. No one can keep up with him. That's why they don't spy him.
That is so
yards.
hard to defend. As a defensive lineman, as soon as you see that bootleg and you see Michael Vick has the ball, you have to go on a pursuit angle and aim 10 or 11 yards downfield to try and catch him.
Oh, that's that perfect complement to that strong side running play. They're going to show all their action here, and then Michael Vick's going to come out. These guys right here have got to play that honestly. And there's your run support. Again, the cornerback is actually the guy who gets sucked all the way down inside.
1st and goal at the 9. Warwick Dunn. And Dunn gets put down hard by Tommy Polley after a short gain.
Algie Crumpler's known for his touchdown catches, but right here, he's the guy that seals off Anthony Hargrove, number 95, that gets Michael Vick out on the perimeter.
Vick has 94 yards rushing on 6 carries. 2nd and goal. First home playoff game for Michael Vick, and he's not disappointing. His toss, and it's caught by Brian Finneran at the 6-yard line. DeJuan Gross, the extra nickelback, making the tackle, bringing up 3rd and goal.
And this is an area that Atlanta has struggled a little bit all season long. It's a new system that Greg Knapp brought in here, and one of the areas that will be the longest for the guys to get into sync. There's 2 really 3rd downs and in the red zone, and that was something they took a look at during the bye week, worked on that specifically, some areas that they'd struggled with during the season.
This is the area also, too, you have to worry about that quarterback draw with Michael Vick if you're a defensive lineman or a linebacker.
And Algie Crumpler, another threat in the red zone. 3rd and goal from the 6-yard line. And here is Michael Vick, and he drills it, and the pass is caught for the touchdown by Peerless Price. And that was a laser thrown by Vick, 6 yards, and the Falcons score again.
I just don't know how you defend this guy. You got him in the pocket. He just breaks contain, gets outside. And like you said, Dick, he just throws a strike to Peerless Price. He comes off the line of scrimmage. It's kind of an ad-lib route right there. He gets back to the outside, and then look at the delivery and the accuracy of Michael Vick right there.
And this crowd loving it. First home playoff game for the Falcons in 6 years. And a challenge flag has been thrown by Mike Martz.
St. Louis has challenged the ruling on the field that the pass was complete for a touchdown. Timeout.
Now you remember they got to make sure that Price had 2 feet in and control.
He makes the inside move, breaks back to the outside. Here comes the ball.
Well, I don't know about
pick up that right foot.
Not
sure. Like he dragged that back one.
Well, he dragged the back one, but I'm interested to see if he picked up that right one.
The NFC Divisional Playoffs on Fox are brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39.
Where we at? Why isn't nobody talking to us?
After review, receiver controlled the football, got his left foot down, dragged his right foot inbounds. The result of the play is a touchdown. St. Louis is charged with their first team timeout.
And it was worth challenging, Darryl.
It really was, because it's the right foot you're going to watch. But look what the field turf does. As he drags the right foot, you see those little things that they have down in the turf to form the bottom. It actually gives you a good indication that he had that right foot dragging across the turf instead of picking it up. But I agree with you, Dick. I think it was worth the challenge. I mean, it's something that keeps you from going down 35-17.
So Jay Feely looking to make it 35-17, and the score right now was the final back in week 2 when the Falcons triumphed over the Rams. And the kick is good, and Atlanta now leads St. Louis 35-17. Still less than 5 minutes elapsed in the second half.
The NFC Divisional Playoffs on Fox are brought to you by GMC Trucks and SUVs. We are professional grade.
It has been a joyous Saturday night for the fans coming out dressed in red and black, the colors of the Atlanta Falcons, who are looking to advance to the NFC title game next week against either the Eagles or the Vikings. Still plenty of time, though, and this has been a high-scoring game. There's the scoring drive as Peerless Price catches the 6-yard touchdown pass. Avion Kaysen on the return for the Rams. The Rams, well, you would think with Wilkins kicking the 55-yard field goal as time expired that they would have some impetus going into the second half. Instead, they have made some major mental mistakes. And here are some of them.
Yeah, came out and really stumbled around right after the opening kickoff of the half. Brandon Manu Malayuna goes back to field a kick that went over his head. You never do that. And then Steven Jackson sneaks a little peek right there with an opportunity for a catch and run and a first down.
And you remember Kevin Garrett had his foot on the line when it could have been the ball at the 1-yard line. And so the Rams not totally into it, it seems, throughout against a very tough Falcon club. In motion is Sean McDonald. First down and the swing pass to McDonald. And McDonald is tackled. Falcons sure-handed tacklers, and that time it was Kevin Mathis, gain of 5.
And not only the pressure, but the pursuit. And you see right here, Mark Bulger, there's been times where they have done a good job overall. They gave him time in the pocket, but boy, he has taken some huge hits. And you can't say enough about the toughness. And this was the one right there at the end of the half where he limped off the field. So,
and there's an injured Falcon, and it's Mathis, Kevin Mathis, who was inactive in the last game with a shoulder injury. And we're going to take a timeout. Back here at the Georgia Dome, Dick Stockton along with Darryl Johnston and Tony Siragusa. Falcons leading 35-17 over the Rams. Marshall Faulk and Steven Jackson in the backfield together. Second down and 5. Mark Bulger looking to throw, and it's dropped this time by Kevin Curtis. So the Rams suffering mental mistakes, and not what you want when you're on the road and trailing 35-17.
Looks like they're feeling a little bit of pressure the last couple series here to open this half. They're missing the opportunity to make plays that they made in the first half. And Kevin Curtis had a great first half, and he again just trying to sneak a peek to see what's coming as you run that crossing route underneath.
This team just trying to catch up and stay close to the Falcons. They've never had the lead. Came in with a lot of confidence, but the Falcons hurt them early with the big play. Third down and 5. And Bulger completes it to Sean McDonald, and a flag goes down as McDonald goes out of bounds at the 46 with a first down.
Looks like we could have offensive pass interference.
That's what will be the story, and you can see the dismay on McDonald's face.
Offense, number 84. 10-yard penalty, third down.
You know, I talked about you got to do the little things right before the game here, Moose. But I think these are the big things. You got to get them right or you don't have a chance at all.
No, you know, Sean McDonald knows he can't shove off to create separation right there. But I've seen worse.
And the drop balls also.
The drop balls are, I mean, that's just something you don't see this offense do a lot of. I mean, they're so efficient in their passing game. One of the things that they're very good at is not dropping the ball.
Right now, I don't like what I see on the faces of the Rams. They look down, and they're making mistakes, and they've got to do something to hang in there right now. They need a boost some way. This could be a critical time. Not necessarily this play, but the rest of this quarter. Third down and 15. And Bulger going back, sacked back to the 12 by Rod Coleman. Rod Coleman, who gives the Falcons great pressure from the tackle position and a loss of 11 yards, forcing a punt.
He's just been such a good interior defensive lineman for the Atlanta Falcons this year. And when you have to worry about somebody like that inside, and then you've got the speed of Brady Smith and Patrick Kearney on the outside, I don't know why Jim Mora feels like he has to add anything into the mix to create pressure, because those four guys up front are doing it all on their own.
Alan Rossom, who has returned to punt for a touchdown in this game. He had one in the regular year, and this kick is a low kick. And Rossom fields it on his own 41-yard line.
Boy, they got a wall set up.
A Falcon is shaken up, but Rossom racing to the 30-yard line. Alan Rossom still on his feet and goes out of bounds. So Rossom with two outstanding returns, and there's Joe DeCamillis. A 44-yard punt return. Finneran was shaken up, and he appears to be all right.
A good critical block right at the point of the catch. You're going to see right here the hit right there on Mike Furry. Now he sets everybody up and then breaks to the outside. They're sitting up the old wall on that opposite sideline. Look at all those Falcon players over there who would loop to that side of the field. And all he has to do is make it to the turning point. He's got to set everybody to the center, then break to the field. There's your critical block right there. Gets him the ability to turn the corner, and then there's all the other guys waiting that are part of that wall.
I know it's hard to believe, Moose, but I did play special teams one time. You got to see that wall while it's being formed.
Oh, it was great to watch it from up here.
First down on the 13, and Warwick Dunn fighting his way close to the 10-yard line. Alan Rossom has 152 yards in punt returns thus far.
Well, here's the critical one right here on Mike Furry. We're going to see, I think the Ram coaches were upset. They felt that this was a block in the back. They talk about the chase position more than anything, and that's coming from directly behind. Now, Brian Finneran was coming at an angle, but kind of gotten away from that thing if you can get your head across. They say if the impetus of the block is from the back, but usually it's when you're in the chase position. So I don't think you're going to miss one right at the point of the catch.
Dunn went in motion, second down and 8. And here's Vick. And Vick finally is brought down, and he was down by contact before he lost the ball by Leonard Little. So Leonard Little getting the sack. He had 7 in the regular year, and Vick loses a bundle on that one, 14 yards.
Seems to be like he's frustrated that he finally got caught. He's kind of getting up going, I can't believe they finally got me.
That's the only way you can get this guy. You got to sneak up behind him and hope he doesn't see you.
From the blind side. Algie Crumpler, he didn't realize how quick Leonard Little was off the snap. I think that was going to be the backdoor screen. You run everything out to the left, throw it all the way back across the field to your tight end.
Third down and 22, back to the 25, and here's the handoff to Dunn. Warwick Dunn, and he runs right into Tino Isamoa, who puts him down at the 20-yard line. Fourth down coming up, and Feely will come in. So Alan Rossom already tonight setting an NFL postseason record with 152 punt return yards, including a touchdown of 68.
And give credit to Joe DeCamillis, because it's kind of been some unconventional things that he's done. You remember the one where he had the 2 guys flanked and act like he was going to pass, and then went straight up the field, and then that one they do the old wall return from the glory days of football.
38-yard attempt for Feely. And the kick is perfect. So the Falcons now lead by a score of 38-7. Big hill for the Rams to climb.
The NFC Divisional Playoffs on Fox are brought to you by Saturn, People First. By Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL, get ready for the game. By the new singular, raising the bar. And by Coors Light, the coldest tasting beer in the world, Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL and Super Bowl 39.
And right now, the Atlanta Falcons are in command and playing extremely well, leading 38-17, and their 38 points are the second highest total for their season. They scored 41 at Denver the week after they were roundly beaten by the Chiefs 56-10, one of their big wins of the year. Avion Kaysen returning for the Rams and doesn't get much as he just crosses the 20-yard line. So we'll have a timeout, and the Rams, long way to go. Hey, Tony Siragusa says you're welcome. Commissioner Paul Tagliabue in attendance here for the first playoff home game in 6 years for the Falcons, and right now making the most of it, leading 38-17. And now the Rams, who have tried to set a running game format to open up the passing game.
Might be time to abandon that ship.
Time is running out there.
That only plays into the hands of the Falcons. First down on the empty backfield, and Bulger's pass, and unable to make it was McDonald. So McDonald could have been off if he had made the grab. And right now the Rams have Seahawk disease as the receivers are dropping passes.
That was you. That was you. I didn't say that.
Low blow, Dick.
But we saw them make these plays in the first half. I mean, that's such a catchable ball for Sean McDonald. We've seen 3 in the last 2 series.
Mike Martz just looking for any kind of a spark. We saw Kevin Mathis hurt. Right ankle injury. Return is questionable. Second down and 10 on the Ram 21-yard line. And Bulger getting some pressure. And he dumps it off to Maliuna. And He gets up to the 40-yard line for the first down. DeMario Williams making the tackle, picking up 18 yards. Well, Fox tomorrow, the nonstop season of 24 continues on its regular night and time. It's a new heart-stopping episode of 24 tomorrow at 9/8 Central, right here on Fox.
Opened last week, the 2-hour premiere episode to rave reviews.
And well-deserved rave reviews.
You watch it once, you're hooked. You better have a TiVo.
TV show's a classic, no question about it. 5 minutes remaining in the third. First down, and Bulger is going deep, and the pass is intercepted. Curtis, and Webster makes the interception. So Jason Webster on the pick as Bulger overthrew Kevin Curtis, if that's possible with all that speed. And the Falcons get their first turnover of the game.
You wonder if Kevin Curtis is just getting a little bit tired. He's had a big night tonight. Down the sideline, a little double move. Jason Webster never bid on it. That's a ball that Mark Bulger can't throw there because he played it as well as you can. He tried to sell him the little out and then the up. Jason Webster was not fooled at all. That's Jim Mora. That's one of those plays that you will look at during the course of the week, and whether it's by formation or personnel, you know that that route could be coming out. And you saw how excited Jim Mora was because Jason Webster obviously saw that play during the course of the practice week and then executed it to perfection tonight in the game.
The Falcons, who led the league in rushing, have rushed for nearly 200 more yards than the Rams today. 264 is their total. First and 10 from the 13, and here's Warwick Dunn. And Dunn is tripped up after picking up a couple. Jimmy Kennedy making the tackle. 38-17 the score in favor of the Falcons. It was 28-17 as the Rams got a late field goal, 55-yarder to creep within 11, but Michael Vick found Peerless Price. Jay Feely added a field goal, and the Rams seemingly have had their head in the clouds since then.
They really have. They came out, they had a special teams mistake on their side that put them deep in their end to start a drive, and then the Atlanta Falcons continue to exploit the punt coverage unit of the Rams. Got another big return from Allen Rossom.
Second down and 8 on the 15. And Vick ducks under one. Flag goes down, and Michael Vick stays on his feet and picks up 1 yard before Pickett gets him. And a penalty marker down. It'll go against the Falcons.
I know there was a penalty, but how did he get out of that? I'm standing 10 yards behind him, and I'm still amazed how he got out of that one.
And holding on to his right hand, it appears, after that tackle.
Holding, offense, number 80, half the distance to the goal, second down.
Eric Beverly.
You know, one of the things that you don't talk a lot about Michael Vick is what his conditioning must be. To be able to do this through 4 quarters of an NFL game when you've got such great athletes out there and you're so superior in what you're doing in your athleticism, but it never slows down. I mean, it seems like he's continuing to move that. And this is the guy that has to call the plays in the huddle. If I had to come to the huddle and call a play, no one would be able to understand me. I'd be sucking so much air.
He's a marvel.
I wouldn't be.
Second down and 15, and Warwick Dunn close to the 10-yard line. 3.5 minutes remaining in the third. This February, NASCAR on Fox returns with the 47th running of the Great American Race. 43 drivers will clash in the fastest, fiercest, most high-powered sporting event in the world. Our NASCAR coverage begins with the Daytona 500 February 20th in high definition, only on Fox. Well, you know, the Vikings may be watching this and saying, you know, I hope, you know, we were the second team to go 8-8 and win a playoff game. Rams were the first. I hope the same fate doesn't befall us.
And sometimes we forget that these teams that get that bye week got it for a reason.
Third down and 14. From the 9-yard line, here's Michael Vick. And Vick fires it downfield, and they're trying to get it to Michael Jenkins. And Jenkins actually got a hand on it with all of that.
That's something Michael Jenkins will learn as he spends more time around Michael Vick, that you can never give up on a route. I mean, this guy is so athletic. He's going to be able to avoid just about anything. And he sees him scramble. He does the right thing. He's the short guy, so he breaks down the field. but then he kind of takes his eyes off it. Almost the opportunity to make a heck of a catch on the sideline.
Michael Vick, as he's scrambling out to the left, he's pointing for him to go downfield. He's giving him directions as he's running.
You can't throw it that far.
Well, Chris Moore is finally earning his playoff money. His first punt tonight will come from 5 yards in the end zone. Sean McDonald, and the fair catch in Falcon territory at the 46-yard line with 2:31 remaining in the third. Fox Tuesday, American Idol is back, and be there from the beginning when the biggest show on television returns. It's the 2-hour season premiere of American Idol Tuesday at 8/7 Central right here on Fox. And we talked earlier about how those early shows are really a riot because you really get the people who you're not going to see at the end, as you mentioned, have some semblance of talent. You're going to see
shoe up,
just about. That's right.
Shoe up.
Tony, give it a shot.
You got to admire their courage, though. You have to admire their courage.
Nerves of steel on that show.
First down for the Rams. And on a flea flicker, here is Dane Looker. Looked like he was going to throw, and Looker looks to run and goes out of bounds. He'll get the first down. He got the handoff from Marshall Faulk. So a gain of 9 or 10 yards. And it is a first down for St. Louis.
That's the one thing you have to guard against with the Rams out there. I know it's 38-17 right now, but you know these guys are explosive as anybody in the NFL on the offensive side of the ball, and you just never know. You never know. You get into a little bit of a lull, you start to feel good about yourself. You come out and have some sloppy offensive series, and all of a sudden you can get yourself back into a game that's inside double digits.
Steven Jackson, who has averaged more than 3.5 yards per carry, the running back, but Bolger's going to throw. He goes to Jackson up the middle, and Jackson picks up about 8.5 yards. Chris Draft, the linebacker, brings him down. Steven Jackson, who has a lot of speed, according to Mike Martz, a unique player in that his speed really is surprising considering how big he is.
It's like Tony.
Exactly.
A guy that big shouldn't be able to move that quick.
We'll tell Steven Jackson he's been compared to the Goose.
What a compliment.
2nd and 2. And Bulger backpedaling and throws underneath. And it completes it to Jackson, but they lose yards as a result of that. 3 to be exact. And they're back at the 30. Good hustle once again by Chris Draft.
Yeah, great play by Chris Draft. You're trying to run the screen pass, and unfortunately for the Rams, they had dialed up a man-to-man defense. So Chris Draft, number 54, you're going to watch him. He's responsible for Steven Jackson, number 39. And unfortunately, you got the screen pass called, and he's all over him when the ball gets thrown there.
3rd down and 5. I don't know whether this is 2 down territory considering the score, but you have to consider that. Bulger's pass caught by Dane Looker, so it doesn't matter. It's a moot point. Looker makes the catch and gives the Rams another first down as he gets to the 16, picking up 13 on the play.
You can see why Mike Martz was so complimentary of Dane Looker, of Mark Bulger. I mean, we've seen the deep ball throw, we've seen the accuracy, but that one, the touch, up and over one guy and just dropped it into Dane Looker.
Hey, this guy's been punished tonight, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Bulger has.
Yes, he has.
He keeps getting up and keeps fighting again. Clock running down here in the 3rd, and they get it off, and Bulger fires, and it's caught by McDonald out of bounds as the time ends. That is the end of the 3rd, and the Falcons, but wait a second, it is the end of the 3rd. Relax, Mike. 38-17 the score.
I ain't playing around, make one false move, I take you down. Yeah. You don't know me like that. You don't know me like that. So come on.
And Michael Vick and company leading the Falcons, and there is Jim Mora. Jim Mora Jr.'s dad, who never won a playoff game, despite getting there with the New Orleans Saints. Later coached Indianapolis, and Jim Mora told us the other day that this would be a vindication for him if he wins this playoff game. Fumble, and the Falcons recover, and it's Travis Hall who recovers the fumble, and causing it was Keith Brooking. So 2 quick turnovers, and the Falcons get it back.
Well, they're going to bring more than they can block. They can pick up one linebacker, but they can't get Keith Brooking. He comes in. Mark Bulger's got that ball out loose. He knocks it out of his hand. But you're going to see both these backers come. They can't block both. Marshall Faulk steps up, picks up the first one, but there goes Keith Brooking. And there's a big turnover that's generated. That's one of the things that Ed Donatel brought with him from Green Bay down here to Atlanta, is generating the turnover. When you get a shot at a sack and you see the quarterback with his hand out, go for the sack fumble. It's a mentality that they coach, and the Atlanta Falcons have really bought into that and been very, very good at it this season.
Travis Hall's got to pick that ball up and run, no Moose.
I guess with the lead you can, otherwise you just take over and hold on to the ball. Des White making the catch right there, and further, as you look at the yardage and more down to normal in the third quarter yardage-wise in this game, is that Donatel said there are specific ways that he has always taught his defenses to force fumbles from quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. The Rams receivers have coughed it up a lot this year, and he says there's a style. We look at the film and we know exactly what we want to do, where we want to do it. It's not by accident that we get these fumbles, and he did it in Green Bay, and he's done it here. 2nd down and 7 early in the fourth quarter, and the Falcons making a rout of it to this point as T.J. Duckett picks up a yard.
Well, it has to have been a frustrating evening. The Rams were confident for the first time. We saw them mid-season, we saw them late in the year, and there was just there was no confidence there. They were searching for their identity. They hadn't really figured out the defensive scheme. They were just struggling in a number of phases, but seeing them when they came here to Atlanta, they finally had a little bit of confidence about them. And boy, the Falcons, just the way they started this game, they just took that from them immediately.
Falcons finished the season with losses in 3 of their last 5, and of course they rested a lot of their people in the last game at Seattle. Here's Michael Vick. What a catch by Michael Jenkins, if they rule it that, and they do. And that was a shoestring catch short of the first down.
Get a little move the pocket right here. Michael Vick's going to go out. Gets it out to Michael Jenkins. There's that catch you talked about, Dick. Boy, that is nice. I really feel like he is going to be a guy that they can rely on the outside next season.
Boy, just grabbed the end of that football with the other end, barely touching the bottom. So
all for naught, though. There are punters out there.
Chris Moore for the second time, we might add.
Earning his money, like you said.
That's right.
He's getting busy.
Hey, don't you think punters really earn their money?
Oh, absolutely. Not.
Very important part of the game. You had a good punter in Baltimore when you won the Super Bowl and a good place kicker.
You should have been the MVP.
There you go.
And the kick bouncing and will go inside the 5 and out of bounds. So everything rolling the Falcons' way tonight. Early in the fourth quarter, leading 38-17.
The NFC Divisional Playoffs on Fox are brought to you by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here. By State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. And by Wendy's new combo choices. Wendy's, it's better here.
12:24 remaining in the fourth, and the Falcons leading 38-17 over the Rams, who will start from the 5-yard line. Marshall Faulk, the running back, he's gained 30 yards on 6 carries, and running the ball to Faulk, and he is clobbered by Patrick Kearney, who comes in, and no gain on the play. This is an inspired Falcon team. They've been playing from the lead most of the year, and they are once again tonight.
Yeah, these guys are not just pass rushers. They're football players. I mean, he's taking on the block, going down the line of scrimmage. Watch this tackle. That's Marshall Faulk. I don't care where he is and what point of his career he's at. That's still a running back. Look at him shed the blocker and then deliver a perfect form tackle.
And run right through the tackle, too, and bring him backwards.
That's impressive.
Boy, that speaks volumes, doesn't it? 2nd down and 10. And Bulger is going to be sacked by Brady Smith for the safety. And if this were a fight, they'd stop it. as Bulger is sacked by Brady Smith, who recovered a Bulger fumble for a touchdown in the regular season, and he gets 2 for his team right here.
Loudest part of the field, down near the end zone. Brady Smith beats Orlando Pace immediately. Give 2 points to the home crowd for that one.
And they'll get the ball back as if they need it. 40-17.
Keep an eye on the football right there. We'll see if Brady Smith got a legal jump or not. Well, that is great anticipation by Brady Smith. Maybe just a little bit too well anticipated.
Don't be a hater, be a congratulator, Moose.
Free kick coming up for Kevin Stemke and for Brady Smith. First safety in Falcons postseason history. He has scored 8 points for the Falcons against the Rams alone this year. Here's Allen Rossom. As if he hasn't done enough, brings the ball out to the 42-yard line. Well, we were so excited about this game, and it turned out to be an Atlanta Falcon performance. Want to remind you to tune in tomorrow's NFC Divisional game when Dante Culpepper and the Vikings will be in Philadelphia to battle Donovan McNabb and the Eagles. Jimmy Johnson talked about how he thought the defense was really the difference. Even without T.O., he thinks the team will do well. Tough for the Vikings to win on the road at Green Bay and Philly in successive weeks, as good as they played.
Because going to Green Bay, the big question was how would they play outside on the turf and or on the grass, and they've got to go to Philly and do it again. So we'll see if they can answer those critics.
First down and play action, and there it is on the bootleg. Michael Vick, and Vick needed 6 yards to go over 100. He gets 8. So Michael Vick has gone over the 100-yard mark for the 6th time in his career, twice against the Rams in both this season.
You just wonder, though. You don't want to change your play calling, but at this stage of the game, I don't know if I want to be called runs to Michael Vick. Now, if he wants to draw back and do some of his unbelievable ad-libs, that's one thing, but he is too valuable to this offense.
Second down and 1. Here's T.J. Duckett. First down for the Falcons. Bryce Fisher making the tackle.
Well, here comes that Falcon ground game, and Michael Vick got it started off with a scramble. Then Warwick Dunn busted a big, long touchdown run. And let's not forget the third component, T.J. Duckett. They are just a tough trio of runners. And you see right there the performance tonight by Warwick Dunn, number 1, Michael Vick, number 3.
And 276 total yards on the ground. Rushing yards for Atlanta. And still plenty of time remaining. It's 40-17. First down on the 47 of the Rams. And here's Vick again. Peerless Price trying to get open for the moment. And the pass is caught by Price, a yard short of the first down. So here he's playing cat and mouse with Travis Fisher while Vick buys time, and he winds up hitting Price.
Talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place right there. I mean, what do you do as a defender? You come out, you've got your responsibility. Travis Fisher's got Peerless Price, and Mike Vick is out there right away on the corner. I mean, it's so strange to watch how much velocity comes out of such a simple motion.
You know, is this a Sandlot game?
Michael Vick forgot to account for Michael Vick in this last couple plays.
Second down and 1. T.J. Duckett. First down to the 32. And the Falcons content in using Vick on bootlegs, rollouts, and running the ball to his bevy of running backs, all who have been incredibly successful this year. The number 1 rushing team in the league, averaging over 5 yards per carry. And right now the Falcons are approaching
300
records.
yards.
Yeah.
It's like
285 right now.
And I can't remember the last time I saw a 300-yard rushing day in the NFL.
Passing days, you know, you get little kudos for that, but for rushing, it's unheard of. Duckett tripped up by Damian Lewis. Well, we were so excited about telling you about 24, which continues, that we Said it was tomorrow, but let's be patient. It's Monday. Fox Monday, the nonstop season of 24 continues on its regular night and time. New heart-stopping episode of 24 Monday at 9/8 Central right here on Fox.
Kind of funny, last week it was really the weekend of the quarterbacks in the wild card round. You had all those passing yards. You didn't have 100-yard rusher. And then today with Pittsburgh and Atlanta getting back into the fold, you're starting to see the success of the ground game and why everybody says it's about running the football when you get to this time of year.
Well, the bus. Jerome Bettis had 101 yards today in the victory over the Jets. And here is Duckett. And Duckett would have had the first down were it not for Robert Thomas's tackle.
He might have had the touchdown.
Yep. And, of course, last week we had the road teams winning 3 out of 4. And the way it's looking now, we'll have the home teams winning today. And tomorrow, the Eagles, who earned home field advantage. And, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles still have to get over the hump. They've lost the last 2 years in the NFC Championship game at home, year before on the road. And they've got to go prove it again tomorrow against the Vikings to get to the NFC title game. So Vikings-Eagles, noon Eastern for the pregame show. Duckett has enough for the first down to the 21.
I think, you know, when you talk about the divisional round, you've seen some of the stats in the NFC. It's 25 wins, 3 losses, almost as good in the AFC. But that weekend, when you have the bye and you don't have to travel, is the better team. There's such a great advantage. But when you get to championship weekend, now both teams have played the week before. You know, the travel benefit, the week off benefit's not there. There's more potential for the visiting team to come in on championship weekend and earn a victory on the road than there is divisional round.
6:16 remaining in the fourth. And as you said many times, that's why you earn the bye. Here's Warwick Dunn. Changing direction, scoring. Flag is down.
Holding, offense, number 76. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Kevin Schaefer, the left tackle, was holding, preventing Dunn from getting his 3rd touchdown on that play.
I got to go see this again. He froze somebody in the secondary. I mean, he came to a complete stop, and then just right there, whoop, Antoine Edwards, ouch.
What a blast he's having. He even had a chance to throw a pass to Michael Vick tonight.
You see, there's his vision and his patience to get through the line, and then right there, boy, he froze Antoine Edwards right in the hole and then looped right around him into the end zone.
With the penalty, first down and 18. And right now the Falcons are at 299 yards rushing. Only 3 teams in the playoffs have gone over 300 on the ground in playoff history. And here is Warwick Dunn. No, it's a fake, and it is Michael Vick. And pushed out of bounds on the bootleg, and hard push by Antoine Edwards. And Edwards going over to Michael Vick, and Vick picking up 19 in the process. So the Falcons exceed 300 with plenty to spare.
It's got to be hard to stop when you're running that fast, guys.
It's just so hard to defend that play. Bryce Fisher went down the line of scrimmage 100 miles an hour to tackle somebody without the ball. And again, it's the responsibility of that outside guy. He's the guy right here, 94. Watch him. That's not his guy. Look, you've got contain on the outside. That's why there was nobody between Michael Vick and Antoine Edwards.
This is what happens when you freelance out there, Moose. You got to do your responsibility.
Coaches will tell you that. That's where breakdowns occur, I guess, Goose. And Warwick Dunn with a couple of yards. So Michael Vick, 120 yards rushing on 8 carries. That's a 15-yard average. And Dunn has 141 yards. He's only averaging 9.5.
Warwick's got to pick it up. Look at the records that they have set tonight.
And no Pro Bowls for the offensive line. You know, they got to get some credit. Kevin Schaefer, Roberto Garza, Todd McClure, Keenan Forney in particular. The right guard, Todd Weiner, the right tackle. 3rd down and 2. And here is Duckett. And Ryan Pickett making the stop on Duckett, picking up 1 yard on the play, and the Falcons keeping the ball on the ground and going over the 300 mark. They have 315 yards. First target they could go for would be the 338 that Dallas had over the Rams in 1980. Arthur Blank, who likes to come down to the field. He has been a great owner for this team, and very often talking with Jim Mora. And Mora told us the other day that I want to talk to him, explain things to him. You know, it's a game, we're having fun, I have time to do it. I take off the headset and talk to Arthur Blank. He could have a long conversation with him now. Here's Duckett. Duckett to the 5.
You know, it's one thing to go out to a game and get beat with exotic plays and gadgets and somebody throwing the ball, but tonight the Atlanta Falcons have just taken the ball and rammed it right down the throats of the St. Louis Rams.
And they did it early.
They've done it from the start of the game, and they're still doing it right now.
And Jim Mora headed for his first playoff victory, and as he said, vindication for his dad, who's here tonight upstairs, and he said that I will give him a ball, not the game ball, but I will give him a ball in commemoration of the family getting a playoff victory. Warwick Dunn, no gain on the play. Fox Tuesday, American Idol is back, and be there from the beginning when the biggest show on television returns. It's the 2-hour season premiere of American Idol, Tuesday at 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Marshall Faulk and the Rams, and of course it's been a turbulent year for them. They struggled throughout the year. At one point lost 4 out of 5, and then lost 2 straight when Bulger was out of action. But they won their last 3 and felt very good coming into this one. Second down and goal, and the Falcons have a ball control effort right here that is approaching 10 minutes in time and 15 plays, and that's going to get them down to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes remain in this NFC Divisional playoff. Rough night for Bulger, but not for the Falcons, who are romping away.
The NFC Divisional Playoffs on Fox are brought to you by Sprint PCS Picture Mail. It's easy for football fans to shoot, send, and share their own football moments.
And you know, 2 minutes remaining, you wonder what price confidence. Jim Mora talking to us the other day. In fact, even when we had him in Seattle, he said, you know, I don't believe in momentum. You know, and having the game off, not playing all my stars, because we'll get it back if we don't have it in practice. He says, we rushed for 242 the first time against the Rams. We'll run on them again. And they have rushed for 323 in this game, nearly 8.5 yards per carry. That is amazing. 3rd down and goal. Michael Vick with 2 touchdown passes, and Warwick Dunn with 2 touchdowns on the ground. And here is Duckett. He'll walk in.
Not a whole lot left in the Rams right there.
And you could see it on their face early, I think, when we got to the 3rd quarter, and they did not carry the momentum of the field goal in the 3rd, and you could see it was starting to slip away.
Yeah, but just watch this. There's not a whole lot of effort right there. That is just a frustrated team.
4-yard touchdown run as both Morris salute. Got to be a happy time for Jim, seeing his son excel so well in his first year. Jim Mora, an outstanding coach himself, as a Feely with the extra point. He had tough New Orleans Saints teams winning when he was a head coach. Just never won a playoff game. His son with a huge 30-point lead.
The NFC Divisional Playoffs on Fox are brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealer.
Falcons winning and heading for the victory, 47-17. Many of the fans departing from the Georgia Dome as Jay Feely, kicking to Avion Kaysen, will run it out from 2 yards in the end zone. Jason stopped at the 24-yard line. Rams allowing 47 points. That's the most they've given up all year. And for the Falcons, their 47 is their best. And Jim Mora's son coming over to join in the early celebration here. And on the other side, consolation for the Rams. They finished 8-8, became the first 8-8 team to win a playoff game, but that came to a resounding thud in this one as the Falcons started early and ran away. Marshall Faulk on the screen pass. Falcons scored, took a 7-0 lead. Vick with a 47-yard run and then a touchdown pass. And then when Mark Bulger hit Kevin Curtis, you thought there'd be a shootout, but it was 28-14. And the special teams play came into play big time in the person of Alan Rossom, who had a punt return for a score.
He had one for a score, and then he had two other ones, 139, 145. Very critical in establishing that field position for the Falcons to allow them to get those points.
Mad TV will come your way following football, except on the West Coast, as Sean McDonald makes the reception. And we have a minute to go. And Bulger out of the shotgun with a pump fake and the pass incomplete. Well, to thank our great crew, did a tremendous job, tremendous camaraderie with our production and technical crew, and we want to salute them once again for their work tonight and for the season. Our producer, Bob Stenner, director, Sandy Grossman, the associate directors, Charles McDonald and Larry Lancaster, sideline producer, Jacob Ullman. Go USC. The broadcast associates, Wayne Wilson and Michael Thompson. Technical producer was Bob Mueller. The pregame show was produced by Scott Ackerson and directed by Bob Levy. 2nd down and 10. And Bulger's pass, and it's caught by Dane Looker. Studio technical supervisor Jack Simmons. The senior producer is Bill Brown. And the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Thanks to our crew up here, Chris Visser, our spotter, and Rick Odioso, our statistician. Mike Eldridge and Charlie Dameyer also turning out the numbers in the truck. And congratulations here as timeout called with 40 seconds remaining. Algie Crumpler, who caught the first touchdown pass of the game. And you know, tomorrow the Vikings and Eagles and the Falcon fans have to be rooting, of course, for the Vikings because they will be at home next week if Minnesota springs another upset. But what's your take on tomorrow's game?
What's my take on tomorrow's game? I think that the 8-8 teams are coming to reality this weekend. I just
real
think,
fast.
Yeah. When it gets to this round, it's about
we'll get to you.
Good team play, and you know that's what the Falcons are. You know, they've got Mike Vick, who's creates a dimension that you have to deal with, but I mean their defense is very sound. Their special teams are very, very good, as we saw tonight. And you know that's what happens. You get to this point in the playoffs, and if you've got a weakness, it's going to be exploited.
And Atlanta's going to be a handful for whoever survives tomorrow. And right now, a chance to recap the game. It all started with the Vick play and then the Dunn play, and we can go on and on.
Yeah, you had the pass to Algie Crumpler earlier, but then the running game took over, and then special teams. Alan Rossom just had a great night. Came back, had one more pass, and then they got the last member of that running group trio, TJ Duckett, into the end zone late.
How about this NFC South? Because the Falcons are the third straight NFC South champion to get to the conference title game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they won the Super Bowl. Carolina Panthers,
they went to the Super Bowl,
just missed. And now the Atlanta Falcons, who have advanced to their second NFC title game. They beat the Vikings back in 1998. And remember, that was when Gary Anderson missed the field goal, a shocker.
The snap, false start.
And Morton Anderson won it in overtime.
64, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
32 seconds remain, 5-yard penalty against the Rams.
I'm anxious to see Philadelphia. You know, we saw Minnesota last week, but I'm anxious to see the Eagles come back and see if they can put on a performance like the Falcons did. Similar situations last 2 weeks, not playing everybody. Everybody worried about how they're going to perform after nearly a month of not playing a meaningful game. Atlanta came out and showed tonight that if you're correct in your preparation and you believe in the philosophies throughout the season, it can be done. We'll see how Philadelphia does tomorrow afternoon.
But, you know, in looking at this game tonight, you know, you kind of get endeared to teams that win in the wild card weekend, and a lot of people did with the Vikings, and they did with these Rams. But again, there's a reason why a team is playing home with a week off, especially a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, who were 13-3. I know we're missing the wide receiver, but they have so many other weapons. And you know, Minnesota obviously came through at the end when no one thought they would. They lost to Washington at the end of the regular season, and then they scored that big upset over the Pack.
But we did the game that Terrell Owens got hurt, and see how Marshall finishes up here. This guy never quits. No. But at that point in the game, when Terrell Owens went down and the team was kind of in limbo, Donovan McNabb started to run a little bit more, picked that team up on his shoulders. And I think you could see maybe some more from him tomorrow afternoon.
And right now, Jim Mora is seeing his son and the team celebrate on the field as the Atlanta Falcons have advanced to the NFC title game. They'll play the winner of the Eagles and the Vikings as Mike Martz and Jim Mora shake hands. And the season is over for the Rams, but it moves on from Michael Vick and company, the #1 rushing team. Great defense, so impressive. Right now, let's go down to Tony Siragusa.
Mike, today, the running game between you, Warwick, and TJ, over 320 yards, a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah, the running game was big. You know, we came out and that was our main focus, to come out and execute the run game. And we knew that would set everything else up, and it did. So, you know, we're very happy and ready to go into next week.
Coach Moore prides himself in team, all facets of the game, offense, defense, special teams. Everybody put in what they needed to and scored. Must be big.
It was a total team effort, and that's what we was looking for. That's what Coach Moore stressed all week, coming out and playing as a team. We know the best part of our team is our team, and we know if we come out and play that way, then we can't be stopped.
Thanks, Mike. Good luck next week. Back to you, Dick.
All right, Tony, thank you very much. A resounding triumph for the Atlanta Falcons as they storm over the St. Louis Rams 47-17. We'll be back from the Georgia Dome after these messages. Back here at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, and our UPS leaderboard, Michael Vick, 2 touchdown passes. Warwick Dunn, 142 yards and 2 scampers on the ground that resulted in scores. And Allen Rossom, an NFL postseason record, scoring a touchdown and averaging 50.7 yards on returns. UPS delivers a chance to win the ultimate home football experience. Just log on to foxsports.com on MSN, keyword UPS. UPS, what Brown can do for you. So for Darryl Johnston and Tony Siragusa, Dick Stockton saying so long from Atlanta, where the Falcons defeat the Rams 47-17. Right now, let's go to James Brown in our studio.
It's the Subway Postgame Show, brought to you by Subway. Can you feel the heat rising? Get ready to experience a fresh toasted sub. Subway, eat fresh.
All right, Dick, and tomorrow the NFC playoffs on Fox continue with the Vikings take on the Eagles in Philadelphia as Minnesota tries to pull off a second straight upset. The NFC Division playoffs tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific in Fox Sports. High definition only on Fox as we welcome you back inside of Studio A here in Los Angeles, California. Indeed, an impressive victory, and with no disrespect to Warwick Dunn, Allen Rossom, and the rest of the cast, as goes Michael Vick, so go the Atlanta Falcons. An impressive game indeed. Wow, Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Jim Moore. And it would be easy to say this is Michael Vick because Michael Vick is Superman. But what Jim Mora has done with this team, they're playing outstanding defense. Look at them on special teams. You know, great special teams. They run the football. It's a total team. You know, I don't know if it's going to be Philadelphia or Minnesota playing them, but they had better watch out. This team has got something special.
The building blocks are all there. You start with an owner who's committed to putting his coaches, his players in the best position to win. Rich McKay came available at the right time. Jim Mora Jr., a hire that's thinking out of the box. Ed Donatel, a guy who is really the scapegoat in Green Bay. Alex Gibbs, offensive line coach, assistant head coach. All the pieces are there.
Yeah, one of the things is, you know you have to stop Vick in the running game. You know that's what they do. And you go in and you can't do it. And next week, we'll see whether the Vikings, we'll see whether the Eagles, with the same plan, stop the run. You can't do it. This reminds me so much of Nebraska back when they won a championship game. 82 yards passing and over 300
back
yards
when
rushing.
Jeff Quinn was handing that baby off.
Yeah.
Give it away. 327 yards rushing.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
Impressive. What a defense.
That's a kick.
Tomorrow, Vikings and Eagles. You won't want to miss it right here on Fox. Now, for most of you, Mad TV is up next. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Fox.
Fox Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League. The NFL is online at www.nfl.com.